This is my planet. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51, The Yin Family's Son-in-Law, It's Okay Not to Be One. Xia Guixuan, Yin Xiaoru flipped the table. You came to the capital with me, so you can get close to big stars? And you even rolled on them. Xia Guixuan looked at her strangely. You suggested that I go act. I thought it made sense, so I went to try it. You're very good. Yin Xiaoru gritted her teeth. Others go to film and don't even know which way to open the door, but you get to be the male lead as soon as you go, and you break the convention that Ling Moxu never plays a love scene. Her eyes are about to drip with tears. Was she particularly comfortable with this service last night? Xia Guixuan pressed the pause button, looked at Ling Moxu's eyes carefully, and confirmed, no tears. The fox was sad and angry. You eat my food, live in my house, and then go out to track bees and butterflies, and you even lick a big star. I haven't even enjoyed it. How do you know that I licked her? It should be the other way around. Okay. Yin Xiaoru grabbed his collar angrily. I won't go back either. You are a confused little demon who just came down the mountain and don't know anything. You know that being a star requires an agent. From today on, I am your agent. Take me to see your contract, so as not to be cheated. Xia Guixuan felt that she was not going to be an agent, but a little fox guarding her food. The way she was guarding the food with a vigilant look on her face, and her teeth were bared, and she was about to tear Ling Moxu apart. It's really weird. When did I become your food? Just as they were staring at each other, an electronic notification came from outside. The Minister of Finance is visiting and proposing to the Yin family to marry Miss Ru. The lobby is discussing matters. Please go over. Miss Ru. Yin Xiaoru was stunned. Who is it? I don't know anyone. Xia Guixuan laughed. Brother, don't talk about second brother. You think I'm a popular guy, and you don't seem to be inferior at all. Yin Xiaoru paused, and suddenly said, aren't you angry at all? Xia Guixuan was stunned, and wanted to say what's there to be angry about. But when the words came to his lips, he felt a little angry. The main reason is that Yin Xiaoru now has a boyfriend around her, whether it's real or acting. The Yin family is silent, Yin Ping is dumb, and Brother Xiong doesn't want to play the system anymore. Outsiders still come to make trouble all day long. This is too disgusting, as if I don't exist. Cindy, don't want to save face? Well, that's the reason. Yin Xiaoru had a stern face, but she was actually smiling in her heart. She didn't know what her mentality was. When she arrived at the lobby where they had held meetings before, she saw a man with a goatee sitting in the guest seat and smiling at Yin Yi. Today I know that your family has such an outstanding descendant like Miss Ru. Sang Yu's business is booming. She is beautiful and polite, and she has backbone and integrity. She faces the Zhou family directly. When my son sees her, he loses his appetite. A young man next to her put on a very graceful and expectant face at the right time. Yin Yi smiled and said, Xiaoru has a boyfriend. The man with a goatee waved his hand. Alice, we heard about this. The identity file shows that she is a retainer cultivated by the Yin family since childhood? Excuse me, this is probably not appropriate. Xia Guixuan glanced at Yin Xiaoru, and Yin Xiaoru coughed twice in embarrassment. In the past, she had to make him a servant for the sake of being above him, and now she is asking for trouble. But then again, it is difficult to make up a fictitious identity. What identity can she have if not this one? Yin Xiaoru was embarrassed and strode out. Who I like to date is none of your business. Who else can say whether it is suitable or not? Then I think you are more suitable for other ladies. Why don't you go back? The young man praised. It is this wildness that makes people toss and turn. Yin Xiaoru, I don't have wildness. Yan Wu Yu has it. Why don't you go and pick her up? After all, these words were not said. The young man pointed at Xia Guixuan beside her. He is just a servant. Relying on being with the lady day and night, he may be close to her. The lady will know in the future that this is not love. Xia Guixuan found it very funny. Does your coming to the door and talking a few words mean love? The young man said. She talked to me as soon as she came out, which means she has a good impression of me. As long as she spends more time with me and I treat her sincerely, she will soon forget about you. Xia Guixuan was shocked. Yin Xiaoru smiled and whispered in his ear, men don't need to lie, they will lie to themselves. Xia Guixuan responded unhappily, "You seem very proud, humph." Yin Xiaoru was really a little proud at this moment. She was not proud of the fact that the other party lied to himself, but that Xia Guixuan had a sour face. He must be jealous, right? When these two people whispered to each other, others really couldn't stand it. The man with a goatee said lightly, "The Yin family is a well-known big family that has made great contributions to the establishment of Daxia since it immigrated to Kanglong Star. Things should be considered from a larger perspective. It should be easy to tell which is better, the alliance with knowledgeable people, and the relationship with a domestic servant as a son-in-law, son-in-law." Before Yin Xiaoru could refute, laughter suddenly came from outside. "The 3-year agreement has expired. It's better not to be the son-in-law of the Yin family." Everyone turned their heads to look, but it was Ling Moxia who strode over. The goatee and the young man's faces changed drastically. Who is Ling Moxia? She is the granddaughter of the Senate president and the hottest star on the planet. There are countless men who are crazy about her, but they may not even be qualified to meet her. Including the son of the Minister of Finance. If Ling Moxia could smile at him, he might faint with surprise. What does it mean for her to come here and tell such a joke? Is this man really a god of war? They were surprised, but saw that Yin Xiaoru's face also changed drastically, and she subconsciously stood in front of Xia Guixuan. "This vixen, I haven't killed you yet to be your agent, and you actually come here to steal my husband? This opponent is terrible." Compared with the son of the Minister of Finance, Xia Guixuan is crushed by Xia Guixuan. On the contrary, if she, Yin Xiaoru, is compared with Ling Moxia, it seems that she, Yin Xiaoru, is crushed. What should I do? Fox, danger. Chapter 52. The Shura field of this world arrived a little early. Ms. Ling. Others didn't have the same inner drama as Yin Xiaoru. As Ling Moxia entered the room, everyone in the room stood up, and many of them subconsciously bowed slightly, as if they were saluting. Among them was the Minister of Finance, who seemed to have the highest status. He was not trying to curry favor with Ling Moxia, but with the great power she represented. Ling Moxia is as cold as frost, and said indifferently, "Is Minister Zhao here too?" Just now, she came out to reply to his son-in-law, and now she looked like she just knew he was here. Minister Zhao seemed to take it for granted and said slightly flatteringly, "Yes, I'm here to discuss marriage for my son." He also realized that Ling Moxia's words were not to support the Yin family, but meant the opposite. Maybe this was the marriage proposal that Miss Ling would like to hear about. Sure enough, Ling Moxia looked at Yin Xiaoru for a while, with a little bit of contempt, and said lightly, "She is a good match for your son." The young man didn't know whether to be happy or disappointed. Because Ling Moxia had never looked at him since she came in, and said that he was a good match for others. Yin Xiaoru was already furious, but her face showed enchanting charm without any instruction. "I think Miss Ling is a good match for him." As she spoke, she walked towards Ling Moxia, put her arm on her shoulder, and said, "Don't you just run to someone's house to be a mistress because they are pretty?" Miss Ling went one step further than him and kissed him. "It's good to be a star. You can kiss someone's husband, and no one will scold you." Xia Guixuan, Yin family members, Minister Zhao, Ling Moxia had a blank expression. Only small families like this would have their heads full of love and that kind of vision. Yin Xiaoru smiled and said, "Then what are you trying to do by running to someone's house so shamelessly?" "Are you here to chase stars?" Ling Moxia said calmly. "My screen partner Ling Moxia, if he is someone else's son-in-law, people will laugh at him if they tell others about it. Don't say that I am playing an old joke from hundreds of years ago. What's so good about being a son-in-law of the Yin family? Mainly, if Xia Guixuan's qualifications are good and he debuts with me, he will be a big star pursued by thousands of people. How can he lose to your Yin family? If someone doesn't recognize a gold inlaid jade, then don't blame others for poaching. Anyway, the young master of the Zhao family is pursuing you, and he is a good match, and everyone is happy." Yin Xiaoru was anxious. "Who said he is a son-in-law? He is my old." She got stuck halfway through the words. "What husband? Even the boyfriend is fake. How can he be a husband? I haven't even thought about it yet. Why are you fighting for the husband?" Xia Guixuan hasn't even recognized her. But now that she has come to this point, of course she has to finish it even on her knees. In the end, she still said the word husband, but the momentum was weakened by half, and her waist was not straight. Finally, Master Zhao couldn't hold it in any longer and said, "Yin, originally, I wanted to say that you didn't get married at all, so you're just a boyfriend at most, not a husband. But before I could finish my words, Yin Xiaoru glared at him fiercely. What are you talking about? What does it have to do with you? Ling Moxu also said coldly, you don't have a say here, go away. Master Zhao, are you addicted to fighting and forgetting the essence? If you help me pull the red string, you can take the son-in-law away. Why do I feel even more uncomfortable? Under Ling Moxu's glare, Master Zhao was so scared that he didn't dare to say anything, and could only sit back with grievance. Ling Moxu and Yin Xiaoru looked at each other, and both sides were about to speak, but Xia Guixuan finally spoke. Do you think I'm dead? Ling Moxu's heart skipped a beat, and looking at Xia Guixuan's indifferent expression, she was a little nervous and didn't know what to say. Xia Guixuan said calmly, okay, you definitely didn't come here to get involved in such a meaningless matter, it's just a coincidence. Come in and tell me if you have anything to say. After that, he turned around and left the hall, not even bothering to pay attention to the father and son of the Zhao family who came to propose marriage. Everyone in the hall was stunned to see Ling Moxu followed him into the house obediently, with different thoughts in their minds. This is still a son-in-law. Even if he is really a son-in-law, he will be rich in the future. This Miss Ling has obviously been fascinated by him. What can't he do if he is persuaded by his pillow? Being handsome is popular. You can offend the queen, but you must never offend the concubine. This is a lesson from history. As for what to do inside the Yin family, who cares about them? The father and son of the Zhao family immediately stood up. Well, we came here presumptuously. After thinking carefully, it is not suitable for Miss Yin. We will leave first. Stay. Who wants to see you off? Being scared by Ling Moxu, it immediately became inappropriate. Didn't you say you like me? Didn't you say you would lie to yourself? Yin Xiaoru found out that she was the one who lied to her. She kicked the floor tiles in anger and chased into the back hall, holding her feet and jumping. Fox spirit, wait for me. Yin Yi and a few elders of the Yin family were left, looking at each other, feeling like they were watching a reality show. Are there any hidden cameras? Ling Moxu came to the house to compete for her husband? In this river? Maybe, it was to hype up the couple? Yes, it is very likely. They just collaborated on a video, right? Yin Yi covered his head and said, Ling Moxu is such a great person. He thinks it's a great thing to just smile at people. This behavior can only be due to other intentions, most likely entertainment hype. Just don't spread rumors everywhere. If you want to spread rumors, let the Zhao family do it. What no one would have thought was that Ling Moxu, who everyone thought was a great thing to just smile at people, followed Xia Guixuan into the room and immediately knelt down straight, not daring to raise his head in fear. Master, Xia Guixuan said coldly, have I been too kind to you these 2 days, giving you some illusion? Ling Moxu hadn't seen Xia Guixuan with a stern face these 2 days. He had always been very kind, giving advice, giving swords, and filming. It really made Ling Moxu a little proud. Seeing his stern face, Ling Moxu finally realized her situation. She was so frightened that she trembled all over. She knelt down and said carefully, yes, I got carried away. Please punish me, master, Xia Guixuan said coldly. Do you know what's wrong? Ling Moxu said in a trembling voice, Master, what kind of woman you want? It's not my place to interfere. This was indeed a point. No matter what Xia Guixuan meant to Yin Xiaoru, or whether he wanted this woman or not, this was not something a servant could interfere with. And he took the initiative to match someone else? Xia Guixuan said indifferently, let's not talk about master and servant, it's as if I'm bullying you. Even if it's just a passerby, doing this will anger me, and no one is qualified to make decisions for me. Ling Moxu bowed her head. Yes, you have been spoiled since childhood, high and mighty, and used to deciding other people's lives, but you have never suffered any loss. Xia Guixuan sighed. Moxu, you are not Axu, you are Sitaking. But Sitaking lost his country after all, and you obviously participated in it, but you didn't realize anything. Ling Moxu was silent. Let's talk about a punishment later. Get up now. Xiaoru is here. Ling Moxu stood up, feeling a little grateful. Xia Guixuan was indeed angry, but he still cared about her face and didn't let her kneel down in front of Yin Xiaoru to embarrass herself. Although it may be mainly because he didn't want to reveal his identity, at this moment, he really felt a little Stockholm in his heart and thought he was very good. As a result, he said something that was inexplicably conjured up by the gods. Even if I have to punish you, I have to say that you can't be a son-in-law. Yin Xiaoru kicked the door open. He is not a son-in-law. Ling Moxu was stunned. What is that? Yin Xiaoru wanted to say boyfriend, but when she saw Xia Guixuan's slightly frowned brows, she was still frustrated for some reason, and finally muttered, I am his agent. If your entertainment company wants to cheat people, you have to get past me. Xia Guixuan laughed dumbly. Ling Moxu stared at his smile, and suddenly realized why he took care of Yin Xiaoru so much. Because Yin Xiaoru always wanted to take care of him. It was different from others treating him as a high and mighty god. Chapter 53 Time Limit for Leaving. In fact, Ling Moxu didn't know why she had to fight with a Yin Xiaoru. It was really ugly in public, and it didn't fit her usual style. But she couldn't help it. Maybe it was because the son-in-law was too ugly. If her master was a son-in-law from such an ordinary family, how could she tolerate it? In the end, she was scolded by her master, and there was still punishment left. She didn't know what to do. Ling Moxu admitted her mistakes and obeyed, but she was a little unconvinced in her heart. She thought to herself, what you scolded me sounds reasonable, that's because you know that I'm fighting for my own face. What if the reason for my quarrel is really to steal a man? Even if you still use the same words, will you still scold? Or try some other words? Ling Moxu thought that she might not scold, maybe he would be embarrassed. Now she didn't dare to try again, and she was a little unconvinced in her heart, and she looked at Yin Xiaoru more and more unpleasantly. Why? I am a slave girl who dared not raise my head when I was scolded, and you don't know anything and are happy, and he still looks spoiled. It's really infuriating. So when faced with the agent issue, Ling Moxu knew she could tear it apart. Mr. Xia is an independent natural person. He is not your son-in-law of the Yin family and does not need a guardian. He is protected by the law when he signs the contract himself, and no one else is qualified to decide anything for him. The last words were very sinister. In Xia Guixuan's own words, General, you decided to sign the contract yourself, and now this woman wants to intervene and see what you say. Xia Guixuan looked at her expressionlessly, and was also a little angry and amused. Woman. Yin Xiaoru is also a business expert, so she is not afraid to tear this apart. My Cindy is a simple boy who just got out of the mountains. He doesn't understand the twists and turns of modern cities. It is normal for him to be deceived. Will the law protect the contracts signed by pyramid scheme scammers? Stop talking nonsense, take out the contract and let me see it. I can tell whether it is a normal contract or a scam for my Cindy. What the hell is a simple boy who just got out of the mountains? What the hell is Cindy? Isn't this a woman's English name? Ling Moxu's face was frosted, and the awe of the master in her heart was almost thrown away. You can't blame me for being arrogant. It's really hard for people not to be arrogant when you lose your dignity. She handed over the contract with a straight face. This is a standard contract. Of course, if you insist on choosing whether it is a slave contract, I can't help it. Yin Xiaoru glanced at it and was a little surprised. It is indeed a standard contract. Although it is a bit slave, everyone does it. Whether it is a scam is mainly reflected in the additional details. Here, it is quite preferential. For example, the company equipped Xia Guixuan with an assistant team, makeup artists, stylists and so on. Generally, this kind of contract will inexplicably deduct a large amount of money from you for this fee, but here it is stated that all will be borne by the company. In addition, there are various unclear expenses such as promotion fees, operating fees, etc. Generally, companies suck blood and peel off layers of blood, and finally the share in the hands of the artist is pitifully little, but this contract clearly states that it is all the responsibility of the company. Some of the most slave links in it have been deleted in this contract. For example, you must unconditionally follow the company's arrangements to attend various activities, and the public's social accounts must be managed by the company and you can't talk nonsense, etc. Top artists can transcend this bondage, but most newcomers can't avoid it. This is not only true for artists, but also for other industries. The civilization of Daxia has not deviated from the template of the mother planet in many aspects, and it is even more excessive. After all, it is an era of force. Under the suppression of strong power, more severe exploitation often occurs. The internal oppression of the sects and tribes of the descendants of gods is also quite serious. The alien zealot society is basically a slave society. Daxia is a little better. But this contract is even more top-notch than that of top stars. Yin Xiaoru doubts that the contract drawn up by Ling Moxu for her is just like this. Even after careful calculation, Yin Xiaoru doubts that according to this contract, Moxu Performing Arts Company will lose money. How is it? Ling Moxu crossed her arms and said calmly, my company sincerely signs Mr. Xia for joint cooperation in development to enter the film and television industry. The most important thing is to expand the plate, so that we will not be like some small families, such as beverage companies that always want to squeeze money from their workers. Yin Xiaoru, I didn't squeeze money from my own people. No, this is your business, don't get off topic. So what is my problem? Did you cheat your Cindy? Such a favorable contract of yours is either adultery or theft. What do you want to do to my Cindy? Ling Moxu, Yin Xiaoru became more and more alert as she spoke. This was not right. This woman was really here to steal her husband, otherwise how could it be possible? She rolled her eyes and suddenly said, I've also read the novel. There's still a candidate for change who hasn't been decided, right? Ling Moxu, what do you want to do? Yin Xiaoru smoothed her hair and showed her S-curve. What do you think of me? Ling Moxu twitched her lips. Change is said as a good wife and a good mother in the book. In the later period, she must be a fairy, not a coquettish one. Then I am Change herself. Yin Xiaoru nudged Xia Guixuan. You said so. Xia Guixuan had been watching the performance of these two with a sullen face for a long time. At this time, he sighed helplessly. Let's talk about it later. I don't want to act after being tossed around by you like this. Don't, the two women said in unison. What a pity. Then they looked at each other again, and both secretly hummed and turned their heads away. In fact, one felt that it would be a pity to give up the great start of entering the film and television industry. Maybe it also meant a little bit of getting close to Xia Guixuan to film. The other felt that according to the plot, take Hang licked Change, and it would be a pity not to enjoy the taste of being licked by him openly. Xia Guixuan saw through everything and said calmly, okay, Moxa should have come to the Yin family this time to ask me for something else, right? Ling Moxa lowered her head and handed over a bag. Well, these are the materials you entrusted me to purchase, although a lot of things happened and it seemed like a long time had passed. In fact, Xia Guixuan had just given her a list of materials 2 or 3 days ago and asked her to find something. She ordered her subordinates to search for it at that time. In just 2 or 3 days, it seemed that the relationship was a little different. The feeling of the master forcing the slave to do things before always felt a little different now. Xia Guixuan took the bag, unfolded it and took a look, and smiled. The things are all top grade, thank you. It should be. In front of Yin Xiaoru, Ling Moxa could only maintain a cold and said calmly, if there is nothing else, I will take my leave. Wait a minute. Xia Guixuan took out a piece of silver metal and a sword-shaped grass from the bag, and took out a few herbs from his ring. After a slight adjustment, a blue flame slowly appeared in his palm. Was he refining the elixir directly? Or was he refining the weapon? Ling Moxu and Yin Xiaoru looked at each other again, both confused. Is refining equipment so simple? He watched helplessly as the seemingly extremely solid metal quickly liquefied and deformed, and unknown impurities were expelled and suspended in the nearby void. Gradually, the metal turned into a small sphere, and various impurities were floating like cosmic garbage. His palm was suspended in the air, as if he was holding a planet in his hand. The herbal juices and special fiber materials turned into gaseous mists, swirling like nebulae, and seeping into the sphere. In the middle of the sphere, a simple sword-shaped shadow gradually emerged, and the sharp sword energy began to spread, scraping Ling Moxu and Yin Xiaoru's faces. This is, a term popped up in both of their minds, sword pill. You want to take the path of sword cultivation, but you haven't laid the corresponding foundation. This sword pill will lay the foundation for your sword. After you go back, absorb and utilize it, and your body will be naturally filled with sword energy, replacing the effect of mana. Combined with the blood and the sword skills and sword intent in the sword, practice hard to comprehend it. Don't always think about other things. Otherwise, you want to seek the Tao? Isn't it a joke? Ling Moxu stared at the sword pill floating in front of her. The sharp sword energy almost made her unable to open her eyes. You asked me to find materials before, and you prepared them for me. I wouldn't take your things for nothing. Xia Guixuan casually flicked the refining garbage into nothingness and said with a smile, go back. Ling Moxu pursed her lips, saluted subconsciously, looked at Yin Xiaoru hesitantly, turned and left. Yin Xiaoru watched her back and scratched her head and said, your relationship with her seems to be different from what I thought. It's different, Xia Guixuan said unhappily, except for your silly brain. Who else thinks about such boring things all day long? Who said it was boring? Wasn't she very happy tearing it up? Yin Xiaoru didn't say anything like I want something if you give her something. Instead, her expression became serious. By the way, I just realized that you need materials for your practice. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I could help you find them. Xia Guixuan tilted his head and looked at her for a while, then laughed dumbly. These things are of no help to my practice. If it's something I need, I must go out and find it myself. Then what are these? This is for you. Otherwise, how can you soar into the sky like this? Xia Guixuan said lightly. The day you create the Golden Elixir Avenue will be the day I leave. I might have caught a cold yesterday and have a headache. I'd like to offer you a copy of The Miserable Daily Life of a Salted Fish in Buddhism, a bald head that always shines, and never blames anyone for being single for thousands of years. Begging for food in a torn cassock, he no longer has any moral integrity. Chapter 54 Interstellar Air. Yin Xiaoru did not feel as surprised and touched as Ling Moxu. Her mood became depressed because of this sentence. Although it seems that this is what should be done and what has been expected. But how to say it? After his intrusion into her life, it seems that it has changed. It is difficult to continue to be a temporary passerby. After each of them gets what they need, they are just passers-by. But she can't say anything, because it was clear from the beginning that the so-called boyfriend was always fake. He saved her life, she took him in to help her integrate into society, he provided formulas to help, and she returned house. This matter has continued to the present. Zhou family's cause and effect. No one owes anyone anything. Originally, Xia Guixuan could leave at any time, and now he can leave. The reason why he set a time limit for her to leave is because they have been together for a long time, and there is always some affection. If she leaves casually, she may not be able to cope with the current situation. Once she is in the sky, she will be considered a great power. At that time, she can leave without any worries, and it will not matter to him if she is killed by others. In order to complete the fate, so he is not accepting a disciple. His meaning has always been very clear, since he wanted to teach her to practice before. But why can he distinguish these clearly? In Yin Xiaoru's opinion, after people have feelings, no matter what kind of feelings, even friendship, can they just say it in this way? The ancients had countless melancholy and nostalgia when bidding farewell to their friends, and there are countless poems handed down from generation to generation. Anyway, the little fox doesn't understand. Is this the difference between mortals and the powerful? She even wanted to say, if I don't practice from now on, will you stay here forever? In the end, she still didn't say it out loud. She was in a mess and didn't know what her emotions were. She just whispered, Ling Moxu, get your sword pill, and it is estimated that she will not be able to film in the short term. You have nothing to do in Beijing. Come home with me, come home with me. These words made Xia Guixuan's heart move slightly. Looking at Yin Xiaoru's rarely seen melancholy eyes, he nodded, okay, although the things in Beijing must have a sequel, and there may be some storms brewing behind the scenes, at this moment, the two really don't have the heart to stay here and wait. To put it bluntly, it really has nothing to do with Yin Xiaoru. She only needs to go back to Shanghai and get involved in the management rights of the game company through video conferencing and online communication. Shanghai's pharmaceutical company and beverage company are her hard work. On the plane back to Shanghai, seeing that Yin Xiaoru was in a low mood, Xia Guixuan found a topic to change the subject. Speaking of which, I think human technology should be able to support everyone to have an aircraft. For example, your hoverboard should be able to be upgraded to a flying function. Why doesn't it have one? Do we need a passenger plane? Yin Xiaoru knew that he was looking for a topic, but she would not ignore him, so she said, I don't know the reason, but I imagined it to be easier to manage. If everyone can fly around at will, it will easily get out of control, Xia Guixuan said, so what limits the development of technology is often not the technology itself. That's right. There are also human factors. Yin Xiaoru pointed to her forehead, the human brain can't keep up. This part has been slightly alleviated through genetic evolution, otherwise it would be more difficult. Is this the sole development of the immortal way? Not completely, but this understanding should be able to understand part of it. Xia Guixuan asked, what is the mechanism of that game? Yin Xiaoru sighed, you will know when you play in my game cabin later. Anyway, I have to practice in my spare time, and I can't use it. It's a waste. By the way, you never even look at such a big game cabin at home. I thought it was a coffin. Actually, you haven't been anywhere except the living room, kitchen, and our room. This was said with a hint of resentment. Xia Guixuan found that it was easy to get off topic no matter what he said, so he closed his mouth helplessly. Isn't it respecting your privacy if I don't visit your house? Why are you so resentful? The little fox's resentment faded quickly, and he started to smile when he got to Sangayu. I don't know if it really faded quickly or if it no longer showed up. Come and see this. As soon as they got home, Yin Xiaoru pulled his sleeve upstairs. You may not have thought about it before. How do we carry out genetic evolution and combat training when we don't seem to have any training at all in our daily lives? This is the key. As he spoke, Yin Xiaoru kicked open a door, revealing the metal cabin inside. It really looks a bit like a coffin. But with that kind of metallic color and streamlined sense of technology, any normal person would not think of it as a coffin, unless he is an old practitioner who has seen many ruins and ancient tombs. For example, a certain Immortal Emperor. How do you play this? Just lie down in it. Well, some games can be played with helmets or even chips, but for ours, we need a cabin because we need to judge the strength of the body in all directions. Yin Xiaoru's eyes were full of mischief and teasing. Do you want to try it now? Just lie down and press the start button and it will automatically adapt. It's easy from now on. You can study it yourself. I'll go cook. Xia Guixuan didn't pay attention to Yin Xiaoru's teasing. He was very curious about this and of course he wanted to try it. Not only was he curious about virtual reality games, but more importantly, this was the training of human gene warriors. He could completely use this to familiarize himself with a human gene warrior system in all directions, and he could also see what level his body would be if it was counted as a gene warrior. Lying in the cabin, the door closed automatically. The interior was made of very comfortable materials that wrapped the human body, automatically adapting from Yin Xiaoru's original small size to his body shape. It was very comfortable, and Xia Guixuan could also feel the energy supply. In other words, people can lie in it for a long time without going out. In this case, if the game is fun, will there be serious internet addicts who live in the game for their whole lives? This thought flashed through Xia Guixuan's mind, and his brain nerves shook slightly. The blue sky and white clouds appeared in front of him, as if he was in another world. Xia Guixuan could clearly feel the turbulence of his soul in an illusion. This brain nerve technology is indeed related to the soul. But it seems to be different from the illusion. Because what you see and hear should be composed of data. In a sense, is it a real thing? Xia Guixuan found it very interesting. A virtual guide who looks like Ling Moxu stood in front of him. It seems that Ling Moxu is also the spokesperson for this thing. This thing is really popular. The virtual Ling Moxu is smiling and welcoming. Welcome back, user. Rescan your physical fitness. The current physical condition is, then it got stuck. Ling Moxu, who has always been smiling, will not move. Xia Guixuan blinked and understood what was going on. His body exceeded the upper limit of the machine setting. After all, it is said that there are no level 7 warriors in the world now. The highest is said to be the peak of level 6. The system designers designed it to level 7 at most. They don't know what the higher level physical fitness is, so of course they can't adapt. It seems that his physical fitness can also be analyzed according to the human system, about level 8 or 9. He thought about it, simulated the physical strength of the Yin family guard leader who was knocked unconscious by his finger before, and restarted the scan. The virtual Ling Moxu finally laughed. Level 3 warrior, specialties, strength and hardness. Xia Guixuan felt that she was driving. The user has been detected to have been changed, and the system has transferred and allocated other partitions and offline points. 3, 2, Xia Guixuan didn't understand the meaning, and thought to himself that he would just follow the little fox. She would need it when the time comes, and it would be bad to change it randomly. With a thought, he interrupted the information transfer. No, enter, welcome to the interstellar era. The virtual Ling Moxu waved his hand, and the next moment his eyes suddenly opened up, and he had entered a brand new world. There were white clouds on the mountains, clear springs flowing, and steam below, like a mountain hot spring. Killings were everywhere, and countless angry eyes were staring at him. Xia Guixuan glanced and almost blew up the game cabin. This was a dressing room in a female bathhouse. A group of women were wrapped in bath towels and hugging their chests, screaming loudly, "Someone help! There's a pervert." If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55, Long Lost Combat Experience. Xia Guixuan didn't have time to think about why these women had to take a shower, even in a virtual game. He fled to the sky in the vast snow with the same level of escape as he had done countless times in his early years. He finally understood what the dead fox's teasing look meant. How did she know that I would cut off the data flow and enter according to her offline point? No matter how she knew, this time Xia Guixuan rarely entered the extreme escape state that he had not experienced for a long time. Because his body's setting value is a level 3 warrior, the game system honestly built a model according to this data and cannot be changed in real time. Moreover, his skills do not exist in the database and cannot be reflected in the game. There is no possibility of comprehending SSS level skills with a ding sound, so he can't even use a skill to cover his face. To act in the game, you have to follow the rules of the game, or just disconnect and leave. But Xia Guixuan was aroused a little excitement at this time. He hadn't experienced such a dilemma for a long time, so why not try it? This is a virtual training game. The first thing you can use in the game is what your body can do. As a level 3 warrior, it was a bit difficult to fly at will, but it was easy to fly like a cannonball and ricochet dozens of feet. Xia Guixuan covered his face with one hand, and amidst the countless gunshots, superpowers, lasers and other energies, his body twisted in the air, accurately dodging all attacks, and instantly disappeared into the mountains. The bathhouse was dumbfounded. Was this a loach or an eel? A girl shouted, complained to the GM. How can men be allowed to go to the women's bathhouse? The game company received a lot of complaints. The GM reported to his superiors with sweat on his forehead. The superiors pressed back with sweat on their foreheads. That's the game cabin of the new vice president, Miss Xiaoru. Then how do we report user complaints? Just say that it's actually a woman, but she's taller and stronger, and she's wearing men's clothes. After all, new users are protected by white light when they enter, so their faces can't be seen clearly. Manager, have you ever dealt with such a thing? How can you think so much in an instant? Because this is what the vice president just told us. Yin Xiaoru hummed a little tune while cooking in the kitchen, and all her resentment and worries were swept away. I know that people like you are arrogant and don't like others to assign you randomly. You will probably stick to the original area. Are you happy now? You chose it yourself. I didn't cheat you. Don't worry, your face won't show. Don't be nervous. The face of the user who just entered is a blurry white light, unless you are caught up by someone 3 minutes later. It shouldn't happen, right? That's an open-air hot spring. The little fox was a little uneasy thinking about it, so she put down the spatula and opened her watch. My boyfriend hasn't been caught up, right? If he has, you should take measures to force him to disconnect immediately, and there must be no mistakes. The other side was silent for a moment, and smiled apologetically. Boss Yin, your boyfriend is an elite of the Special Operations Division, right? His skills are ridiculously strong. Boss Yin, are you choosing a concubine for him? I sent my boyfriend to watch a girl take a bath. How could I not meet such a good woman? Choosing a concubine, Yin Xiaoru smiled. If he wants a concubine, I dare to give him 10 or 8. The manager burst into tears. In the game, Xia Guixuan pressed his hand on the tree trunk, and his body swung past, accurately avoiding a laser, which was shot on the tree and exploded to pieces. Then he rolled over, and a row of bullets swept by him. Xia Guixuan had already rolled behind a rock and punched out. Bang! With a sound of the ground, rubble shot all over the sky. The pursuers blocked it slightly, and the figure disappeared. A girl put on goggles and scanned the data in a mirror for a long time. She gave up dejectedly. No one, they ran away, so fast. Where's the sister who complained just now? GM said it was a woman. He guaranteed that the company's products would not have such bugs that would allow people to change users and log in and out of the same place. They would definitely be assigned to other safe areas. Female? So strong and powerful, with broad shoulders, thick back, ape arms and wolf waist. Female, isn't she with long hair? Well, if she is a woman, why is she running away? We have many such powerful sisters to stick with. A group of girls collected their battle clothes and guns and walked back. Fortunately, it was a woman this time, because she was seen naked. What if it was a man? I said you shouldn't take a bath. What kind of bath do you take in the game? Taking a bath after a fierce battle is the most solemn ceremony. What kind of fierce battle? In that case, you take a bath before, you also need to take a bath after that. I tell you, that kind of thing. The laughter faded away. After a long time, the rocks and dead leaves on the ground shook, And Xia Guixuan's head emerged. These women are really good at chasing. They have already chased for 2 or 3 hills. The physique of this level 3 warrior is really not good enough to keep the distance. If he hadn't mastered the application of the human body, he would have been swept away by a pile of guns and battle suits. Fortunately, he saw a pit and went in. At least he deceived a group of naive people. Xia Guixuan came out and laughed suddenly while leaning against a tree trunk. It was quite fun. This experience of purely using the limit of physical fitness was very distant, so distant that I almost couldn't remember it. The battle suit blessing is also very interesting. Xia Guixuan pressed the belt, and the level 3 battle suit that came with the game on his body slowly changed and became an ordinary suit. The full energy provided by the battle suit just now can be clearly felt. It is not fed back to the human body. In fact, the whole battle suit is a kind of overall weapon equipment. In a sense, the cultivation of the human body is to exert the ability of the battle suit. An ordinary otaku wearing a level 5 battle suit can't play it at all. If others make a basic attack, the otaku can't react and how to dodge. There is no possibility that an ordinary person can become a master by wearing a treasure, so people need to practice on their own. The level of battle suit is suitable for the level of warrior, and the most suitable performance is also considered. In a sense, the battle suit is the main body, and the person is just an operator. Different battle suits should have different focuses. For example, my suit is suitable for strength and hardness, which is a completely head-on type. Just now, some girls were able to use their superpowers and tried to deviate from his escape route, but of course he saw through it at a glance. In the final analysis, the game is just a spiritual transmission and spiritual knowledge feedback. In this regard, he is still at the taking level. In fact, the combat method is also at the taking level. Others have to work hard to practice and learn from famous teachers. What kind of unique skills and high-level secrets are all unique skills for him? The foundation of a third-level warrior can be played here, and it is even more fun. While studying, my heart suddenly moved, and suddenly I flashed on the spot. There seemed to be flashing words at the spot where he was, which turned into a strange prism. At the moment when the prism closed, Xia Guixuan broke out of the words, causing the words to scatter and wither. At the same time, a knife light fell from the sky and chopped the tree trunk he was leaning against, and the trunk was abruptly split in two. Xia Guixuan threw a punch back casually, and a muffled groan was heard after the knife light. A woman with short hair and glasses staggered back a few steps, staring at the broken blade in her hand in a daze. And she is a woman with glasses. It's really weird. Your genes have evolved. How can you still be nearsighted? How can you fight with glasses? Xia Guixuan sighed. What can I do for you, girl? He thought to himself that it had been so long, and it would be over if he didn't admit that the man just now was him. The woman silently put away the broken knife. The eyes behind her glasses were very calm. She looked at Xia Guixuan for a while before slowly saying, I knew it was impossible for you to go away instantly. You must be hiding nearby, so I've been waiting for you here for a long time. But I didn't expect you to be able to see that I was using my supernatural powers to build a cage, and you broke it in time. Xia Guixuan, the woman asked, what means did you use to avoid a system assignment and appear in a place like the women's bathhouse? Xia Guixuan asked back, since you suspect that I am a pervert, why don't you cooperate with them to catch me, so that you won't be afraid of being hurt by a pervert if you are alone? The woman said lightly, you can't do that in the game. If you dare to touch me, I can activate the game protection. Not only will I lock your account, but I can also trace your real body and catch you. Why should I be afraid of you? Xia Guixuan's first reaction was observation and insight. Games are games after all. Without real fear, the woman was stunned, and actually agreed, you are right. The two people seemed to have peculiar trains of thought. They looked at each other in silence for a moment, and the woman suddenly said, I don't think you look like a pervert. It's probably a misunderstanding. Let me put it this way, I'm curious about how you can appear at the special offline point for women. How about we cooperate? Xia Guixuan was stunned. We can cooperate on this. You're not a homosexual. You want me to sneak into the women's bathhouse and take pictures for you? Sorry, no deal. Chapter 56, Cold Light Shining on Iron Armor. The girl with glasses looked at Xia Guixuan as if he was a fool for a while. I thought you were handsome and clear-eyed, so you should be a smart man, but I didn't expect you to be a fool. Xia Guixuan, the girl with glasses looked down on him. I am a woman myself, Do I need you to take pictures of the women's bathhouse? Xia Guixuan found that he seemed to be infected by the little fox. How come his way of thinking became like this? He was looked down upon as a fool and felt very embarrassed. He forced himself to say, "So you just want to learn this trick and go to the men's bathhouse to take pictures by yourself?" The girl with glasses was silent for a while, then she spoke a little unhappily. "This is a combat training simulation game, not porn. There are also porn games if you want to play virtual games and do that kind of thing. There are both real people and virtual VR, and you won't get sick. If you are interested, you can play it by yourself. Can you think about something serious here now?" He usually asked the stinky fox to think about something serious, but he didn't expect that this time he would be educated by someone else. Xia Guixuan thought it was quite interesting and said with a smile, okay, I'm a pervert with a messed up mind. What kind of cooperation do you want?" The glasses girl thought that this guy would go offline to play porn. When she heard that he finally responded to the main topic, she looked at him again and asked, "Do you know that there is a kind of non-continuable copy?" Xia Guixuan didn't even know what a copy was, let alone the type. He could only shake his head when he heard it. He found that although this woman spoke calmly and had a kind of intellectual and bookish air, she always felt a kind of hidden pride and scrutiny, as if she was reviewing or reading books like herself. I don't know if it's an illusion. It's also strange. I don't know many women on this planet, but they are all very arrogant. Relatively speaking, the little fox who felt a little arrogant at first was actually the least arrogant one. As she said, the good wife and good mother change Benny is really that close. She actually just wants to live her life. Arrogance is just a protective color outside. What are the others? The hot-tempered Yan Wu, the indifferent Ling Moxu, and this strange glasses girl whose origin is unknown. Seeing that he was silent, the girl with glasses did not seem to expect him to understand, and continued to speak. Generally speaking, it takes a long time to complete a dungeon. Many people are halfway through the game and cannot continue because of something in real life. It is normal. So in the dungeon, as long as you are out of combat, you can directly log off, and the next time you come back, you can continue from where you did not finish last time. Xia Guixuan roughly understood it. So you mean, there is another kind of dungeon that you cannot continue once you log off? Not really. The key is that the place where you go online is not on the dungeon, but you will be teleported to another safe zone to go online. If you want to re-enter the dungeon, you need a long pre-task, which is too cumbersome. The girl with glasses said, "I don't spend much time online every day, and it's all in fragments. This kind of dungeon is not friendly to me." Xia Guixuan pondered. In fact, what is essentially tested is the ability to complete tasks quickly. The girl with glasses was stunned, and looked at him again as if re-examining him. "That's right, but I have too little time, and it's difficult to even meet the fastest requirement." Xia Guixuan smiled and said, "If I help you with this, what's the benefit for me?" The girl with glasses said, "This type of dungeon is different from the regular ones that you slowly grind through. If you can speed through it, the rewards are very generous. You're wearing this basic battle suit given by the system, and there are no accessories. Don't you want more special equipment?" "What special equipment?" "A good gun. There are also various special accessories. In short, the level is very high. I don't know the details even if you ask me now." The girl with glasses paused and continued, "No matter what's in it, I'm mainly on the supernatural route, and you're on the combat route. What we need must be different. If you can help me go online in stages to get through the dungeon, you can pick whatever you need when the time comes. I can apply for system notarization and I won't cheat you. How about this sincerity?" "Very fair," Xia Guixuan said with a smile, "but I don't know any way to stay in the same place after going online." The girl with glasses widened her eyes. "Then why did you tell me so much?" "I just think that if I design a level for people to play, I will definitely give people a glimmer of hope, and I won't set it up so that if you miss it, you will lose it forever." Xia Guixuan said, "If I were the game designer, you would go online again and find that dungeon, and there would be a way to resume, and you don't necessarily have to start all over again." "Yes," the girl adjusted her glasses and said helplessly, "but this is more difficult. I don't think you can crack it." "What settings?" "The divine array system. Just pass through the maze. But normally, most people will spend more time in the maze, so it's better to start over. Can't you ask people who have walked through the maze and summarize their methods, because everyone's method is randomly generated?" The girl with glasses shook her head. "Forget it, I'll find another way." Xia Guixuan smiled and said, "Isn't it all over if I take you into the array?" The girl with glasses, Xia Guixuan's expression suddenly changed. Someone called me for dinner. How about this? You make an appointment for a suitable time and place, and we'll talk next time. Add a friend first. The light screen lit up, and Xia Guixuan chose the face-to-face friend adding function. Ling. Chop it into meat sauce and apply to add you as a friend. The corners of the girl's mouth twitched. She didn't have much time to waste here, so she clicked to pass. Han Guang Zhao Tai Yi approved your request. Han Guang Zhao Tai Yi. This ID would be good if it was given to Yan Wu Yu, but as for this one, although she looks like she has a straight waist and a tux-in military posture, well, it's still very flat, but this is the only thing that can match the flavor of Hua Mulan, and the other aspects are really not like her. Xia Guixuan looked at her seriously for a while, and smiled. You are not suitable. You are too delicate and elegant. The girl with glasses seemed to have heard many people make similar comments, and said lightly, judging a person by his appearance, you will lose if you can go online after dinner, let's meet at the nearest bar in the main city, okay. The girl with glasses watched Xia Guixuan turn into white light and disappeared. She stared at the white light for a long time and slightly frowned her beautiful eyebrows. Based on the battle and conversation just now, analyze the data. The glasses displayed red high-risk subtitles in her eyes, flashing continuously. Physical level, 3rd gene transformation. Mental level, cannot be analyzed. Skill level, cannot be analyzed. Equipment level, NT type basic combat suit. Combat experience estimation, SSS level. Polygraph heart rate fluctuations, cannot be analyzed. High risk, it is recommended to stay away. It is recommended to stay away. The glasses did not stop until the white light disappeared. The girl with glasses frowned and pondered for a long time, then suddenly laughed. High risk? He's right. No matter how much contact there is in the game, what real crisis can there be? It's boring to think about it. Xia Guixuan left the game cabin over there, and Yin Xiaoru squatted beside him and watched him get up, blinking. Is it fun? Xia Guixuan said unhappily. You know the place to log off is the bathhouse. Why didn't you remind me? Don't worry, I won't let you get caught. Isn't this a great advantage for you? Doesn't it look good? They're all skeletons. Xia Guixuan got up and walked out of the cabin, suddenly laughing. They are indeed all skeletons, but I saw an interesting soul at the end. Yin Xiaoru was stunned. Female, aren't all women in that area? So, Yin Xiaoru hesitated for a moment, and said uncertainly, I casually suggested that you film, and you hooked up with Ling Moxu. I casually took you to the bathhouse, and you hooked up with a new girl. You said I have a vortex of luck. Does that mean I can accurately point to your peach blossom luck with just a casual point? Xia Guixuan suddenly felt that it seemed to make some sense. Of course it's not peach blossom luck. In the immortal way, it's called the way of heaven, and in the human way, it can probably be called the convergence of the world line. So it seems that this girl with glasses who calls herself Cold Light shining on iron armor is definitely not an ordinary person. Transition chapter. Sacrificing the new book of the old demon boy the tomorrow fire thief. This guy's imagination has always been coquettish and interesting. It's worth a look. Chapter 57. That's the routine I wrote. Accompanying Yin Xiaoru to eat a table full of more than a dozen dishes of fish and meat, Yin Xiaoru's cheeks were bulging with food, and the previous resentment had long since dissipated. She murmured casually, hey, although you looked like you didn't want to stay, you didn't say it so clearly. The reason why you suddenly said it clearly today is because the quarrel between Ling Moxu and I made you feel noisy and wanted to leave, right? Xia Guixuan did not deny it. Yes. This kind of hustle and bustle is not conducive to the Tao. If you can live peacefully every day, it doesn't matter how long you live here. I am also very satisfied with the residents in the ecological park, and the luck entangled around you is also considerable. I didn't understand why I quarreled with Ling Moxu. It shouldn't have come to that point, and I know you don't like women at all, so what's there to quarrel about? Yin Xiaoru swallowed a mouthful of food and said vaguely, I thought about it for a long time while cooking just now, and I think I figured it out. Xia Guixuan was a little curious. What? Maybe I've been lonely for too long. I dare not confide in my family, and I dare not make friends casually in my daily life. I keep a distance from anyone, hide in Sangayu to entertain myself, and even my own housekeeper and guards are not allowed to enter my house. My only friend is Sister Yan, because she has divine blood. Xia Guixuan seemed to be thinking about something. Others think I'm a stern and arrogant overbearing female president, but you know I'm not. I'm just a little fox who likes to play. What stern and arrogant thing, I just have to do that, Yin Xiaoru sighed. When I first met you, I thought you were a confused little demon who had just come out of the mountains. I thought I could be a big sister. Actually, she paused and smiled, if it's true, it's great. Xia Guixuan ate silently and didn't answer. Later I found out that you were very powerful. My preconceived notion was still there. Anyway, whether you were a little demon or a master, you were a newcomer who knew nothing about this society. I took care of your food and accommodation, and I helped you to know the world. Even if the money was exchanged for the formula, it was given by me. Yin Xiaoru smiled and said, isn't this an interesting idea? Raising a master as a younger brother, or as a pet? And criticizing you for doing nothing. In your heart, this stinky fox is just a little pet, Xia Guixuan finally said. A friend, it's really an honor. Yin Xiaoru put down his chopsticks and stretched. But in your life, aren't there too many such friends and passers-by? Xia Guixuan was silent. Yin Xiaoru sighed. Later, when I saw you and Ling Moxu filming and becoming a star, I suddenly realized that you didn't need me anymore. You didn't need me at any level. I didn't know what the panic was at that moment. I can't describe it. Maybe I should find a book writer to describe it. Xia Guixuan shook his head. You are too emotional. Why do you have to do this? Yin Xiaoru asked. Are you cultivators like stones in the end? Xia Guixuan wanted to say something, but seemed to remember something else, and finally shook his head. Not necessarily. Anyway, if you live longer, you will naturally become indifferent to it. If it's just like that, then why run away? Can't you just laugh it off? Why do you think it's a disturbance? Xia Guixuan said, so I didn't practice well enough. This is what I'm looking for. Yin Xiaoru held up her chin and thought for a while. I heard that there is a kind of practice that deliberately makes people seduce in front of you. If you can really remain calm and composed, it means that you have practiced well. Is that right? Xia Guixuan nodded. There is indeed such a practice. A smile flashed in Yin Xiaoru's eyes, and her voice suddenly became charming. Then, do you want to try it? Xia Guixuan had a blank expression. Wipe the oil you just ate before you say such things, stupid fox. Yin Xiaoru. Xia Guixuan put out a few bottles. When I got the materials before, I teleported through the void and refined the pills with a cauldron. These are the most suitable auxiliary pills for your current stage of practice. I have labeled each type on them, which are enough to support you to refine to the Tengain Pass. As for how fast you can go and whether you can break through, it depends on you. Yin Xiaoru sighed and took the pills listlessly. I know, I have an appointment with someone and I have to go to the game. Xia Guixuan stood up, turned around and walked a few steps, then suddenly turned back and smiled. Thank you for treating me as your brother. It was a good experience. Yin Xiaoru said nothing, and watched him enter the game room with a stern face. Suddenly, her shoulders slumped, and she lay on the table, holding her little heart. I'm dying. This smile is killing me. This bastard wants to be a monk and still be so handsome. Isn't he harming people? She lay there for a while, and suddenly said to the watch, what woman did my boyfriend date in the game before? Take a photo. The other side of the watch was silent for a long time, and then said weakly, Vice President, it is illegal to expose the user's image at will. Oh, your bonus this month, but you still have to be flexible when you need to be flexible. The other side sent a picture. Yin Xiaoru looked at the girl with glasses in the picture. This is not the girl with glasses when she was talking to Xia Guixuan, but a silhouette after Xia Guixuan left. She sat alone on the rock on the side of the mountain, wondering what she was thinking about. Beautiful, intellectual, and bookish, she didn't stand upright and slightly scrutinized as in the previous conversation, but was a little melancholy. The mountain breeze blew gently, and the fallen leaves drifted. She stretched out her hand and gently touched the fallen leaves. She looked a little sad. She was completely an artistic young woman, harmless and a little fragile. She would cry for a long time after being punched. After sitting for a while, she also went offline. Maybe she went to eat? Yin Xiaoru curled her lips and thought that this little white flower style was rare in this fighting game. No wonder he said it was a little interesting soul. Her eyes fell on the chest of the girl with glasses, and soon she showed her winner's smile. It's so flat, you can fly a plane. The call was not turned off, and the manager on the other side of the watch was sweating profusely. Okay, Yin Xiaoru straightened her chest and hung up the phone. It's okay. Xia Guixuan went online and went to the nearby main city. There are actually not many game users, and even fewer are online at the same time. There is only one bar in the main city, which is easy to find. Xia Guixuan entered the bar. There were not many customers inside. He saw the girl with glasses sitting in the corner drinking silently, and there were 3 girls chattering around her. She smiled and listened without saying a word. It was very different from the long talk about cooperation before. Xia Guixuan walked forward and sat down, and asked, "Who are these 3? The girl with glasses winked mischievously and sent him a private message. "They are all the girls you saw naked in the bathhouse just now." Xia Guixuan: "So, were you among them just now?" "Forget it, I was too small to see." The girl with glasses was introducing, "Our copy still needs some professional matching. These 3 are hired by me. I only charge commissions, not the copy income. Our cooperation is still the same, but," she paused, and her voice became a little colder, "I hope you are not bragging." Xia Guixuan smiled and said nothing. The 3 girls' eyes lit up one by one. Someone pointed at his face, and their hands began to tremble. Is it the one in Ling Moxu's new video?" Another girl screamed, "It's really taking. So handsome." The 3 girls jumped up and stuck to Xia Guixuan. "If you had told me earlier that you were going to the dungeon with Taekang, I would have been happy to pay for it." "Brother Taekang, look at me." Xia Guixuan got up in embarrassment and blocked himself with one hand. "Wait a minute. We are going to fight, not to go on an outing. He was the pervert you were chasing before, but now he's sticking to me. If you had told me earlier, you wouldn't have to run away, right?" The girls patted their chests and promised, "We will definitely protect Brother Taekang. Don't worry." "How come he's the brother?" Xia Guixuan dodged the girls' attempts to touch him, and looked at the girl with glasses speechlessly. The girl with glasses was also staring at him blankly. "Why, are you also a fan?" Xia Guixuan asked unhappily. "No." The girl with glasses pushed her glasses and revealed an amused smile. "I haven't paid attention these days. I didn't know that someone had played Si Taekang. Well, the appearance is quite suitable, but I don't know if he can play that kind of evil character." The 3 girls were very surprised. "You read that book too?" The girl with glasses smiled. "That's what I wrote." The air was quiet for a moment, and Xia Guixuan blurted out, "Why are you playing games if you don't write books? P.S. The new book list for the new week has been reset, so please give me some votes. This may be the last week I'll be on the new book list, and I'll be off in a few days." Chapter 58 Fang Wei's array. The novel is called Gaxia Love Affair, and the author's pen name is Xiaoju. The book was not very popular at first, because Xiaoju updated too slowly, but after being spotted by Ling Moxu's team and filmed a few videos, it quickly became popular. This popularity is a bit ridiculous, because in fact not many people read the original book, people just watch the videos. Ask the 3 girls present to retell the story of the whole book and what it reflects. Most of them can't say, they only know that Ling Moxu is cool and Si Taekang is handsome. Few people can calm down and read novels these days. But this does not prevent many people from wanting to know the true appearance of the author Xiaoju, whether she is a literary beauty. But this author is very low-key, never shows up or participates in signings or anything else. To this day, no one knows what she looks like or whether she is a man or a woman. It's also possible that a man can write for women, right? In the end, this is really a woman, and she is a very bookish girl with glasses, which perfectly meets people's expectations and guesses about female authors. Writing is originally a hobby. Daxia is in a war, so martial arts is more important. The glasses lady smiled and said, "Many people treat this as a game, but I don't think so. It's a good exercise for myself." Xia Guixuan nodded. "This game does serve as a civilian combat training function, and there are many knowledgeable people who can see it. But as a true reader, of course I hope the author can write more. Is anything else important?" Xia Guixuan thought for a moment and said with a smile, "You never revealed your true face before, and we couldn't find out no matter how we checked. Why are you so frank this time and tell us this when you just met us for the first time?" The girl with glasses blinked. "Because this is a game, this may not be the real face. It can't be the face I sculpted. Anyway, you don't know who I am after I go offline, so what can't be said?" A girl said. "Then how do we know if you are the real author or an imposter?" The girl with glasses smiled. "How come Xiaoju is very famous? Is there any value in pretending? I see that you are more interested in the actor Taekang than in me." "Well, in fact, I am also very interested in the Si Taekang, so I revealed that I am the author. I have something to discuss." The girls all laughed. "Then should we call you Hongguang Zhao Tai Yi, or just Xiaojiu?" Xiaojiu didn't care. "Hongguang, Tai Yi or Xiao you are all fine. 5 words are so tiring. Then, a girl rolled her eyes. Are you married? Xiao you was finally helpless. Shouldn't you be surrounding your brother Taikang? Why are you surrounding me? Xiao Jiu paused. His expression changed slightly, and his voice became a little hurried. Don't read it randomly. I just wrote a romance novel. I can't stand the accusation of literary inquisition. Xia Guixuan smiled, and finally said nothing. Xiao Ji subconsciously clenched his fists. Secretly glanced at Xia Guixuan's profile, and saw that he seemed to be calm and seemed to be unintentional, so he also sighed softly and frowned again. The copy is ahead. A scene similar to the desert. Don't care why there is a desert near the main city, after all, it's just a game. There is a blue light curtain door standing on the edge of the desert, and other teams can be seen entering. Xiao Jiu calmed down and introduced, the dungeon is open. You can enter after completing the pre-quests. Last time, I was halfway through the fight, but something happened in reality and I was offline. As a result, I was in the city when I came back. If I go in again, I have to complete the pre-quests again and start from the beginning. Xia Guixuan couldn't help asking, does what others have entered have nothing to do with yours? This time, the girls looked at him strangely. Of course it has nothing to do with it. Each team enters an independent world and can be reset repeatedly, so it is called a dungeon, not a world plot. Xia Guixuan coughed dryly. Looking at this kind of light curtain door, he felt familiar with some immortal ruins. This kind of door is often a kind of boundary membrane transmission. After entering, it is an independent area. I thought I understood what a dungeon was, but it turns out that this is what it means. It turns out that the concept is not the same. Instead, it is like the heavens and the myriad worlds. The worlds that everyone enters do not interfere with each other. It's quite interesting that human technology has reached this level. A girl asked Xiao Jiu, so you want to find a way to continue directly from where you entered last time? I heard that it is the setting of the Immortal Path maze, which is very difficult to walk. You can't get out even if you wander around for a day and a night. Some people went crazy inside and just logged off and quit. Xiao Jiu glanced at Xia Guixuan with her beautiful eyes. It depends on your brother Taikang. Xia Guixuan said nothing, walked back a few hundred meters around the light gate, and pointed to the empty desert in front. Is this the entrance to the maze? Xiao Jiu finally had some surprise in his eyes. Yes. Xia Guixuan looked up for a moment and smiled. Follow me in. As he spoke, Xia Guixuan took a step forward and disappeared inexplicably in the eyes of the girls, and had already arrived in another space. Brother Taikang, wait for me, we will protect you. Several girls quickly followed in. Xiao Jiu frowned and followed behind him, stepping into the entrance of the maze. Xia Guixuan and the 3 girls were standing there. They were still in the vast desert. There was a door next to them. Except for the dim light on the door, which looked like a fake door, nothing seemed to have changed. Who could know that in the eyes of outsiders they were no longer there? Seeing Xia Guixuan observing, Xiao Jiu said slowly, I originally thought it was a formation like a mirage, deceiving the vision, but the goggles could not analyze the correct light and shadow. No matter how I went around, I still returned to this place. There was nothing in sight, and there was a door next to it. This door cannot be entered yet, it is fake. If you can use the technology in your hands to find out, then this kind of maze setting is meaningless. Xia Guixuan smiled. This is a square violation formation. Everything you see is a violation. What is a square violation formation? Reverse the steps and reverse the faults, odd and even lines. When you encounter an odd number, go in the opposite direction, and when you encounter an even number, go right, and always go in the opposite direction. Xia Guixuan turned and walked towards the direction of the light door. Follow me. The girls were confused when they heard it, and followed him with a confused look on their faces. But they saw Xia Guixuan standing in front of the door, as if measuring the coordinates, and then led the crowd to walk 7 steps north. The door behind him disappeared, and the door appeared in front of him again, which was extremely strange. Xia Guixuan walked 7 steps east again. The original door disappeared again and reappeared in the east. The girls followed him around in confusion. They didn't know how many steps they had taken and how many times they had seen the same door again and again, until someone couldn't help asking, Brother, this, SHH, Xiao Jiu whispered, it seems to have worked. The girls were stunned for a moment, and then they saw the door in front of them suddenly light up, and it once again glowed like the copy they saw outside. The formation was broken, and it took 3 minutes. The girls were extremely shocked. How did it break? We just walked a few steps and it was done. Didn't you say that you came here to fight, not to travel? Why do we feel that we are clearly here to travel? Xiao Jiayu looked at Xia Guixuan's profile and whispered, from the initial measurement, the direction has been changed 7 times, 7 steps each time, for a total of 49 steps. I originally thought it was the position of the Big Dipper, but in fact it is not. Following your steps, I can't draw the shape of the Big Dipper. Xia Guixuan looked at her in surprise. This observation was in stark contrast to the other girls. Xiao Jia looked up and thought for a long time, then suddenly smiled. I know. The number is the number of 7 stars, the formation is the position of the 8 trigrams, enter from can and exit from DUI. If you encounter this formation again, you can break it. Xia Guixuan suddenly felt that entering the dungeon to continue hunting treasures was not her purpose at all. Breaking the formation was, damn, the upstairs is being renovated, and the noise is making my head split. Speaking of which, these plots are not about transferring to online games. First, they are to show the virtual reality technology of the future world, and second, they are to interact with Xiao Jiu's network. The game itself is not worth mentioning. Oh, don't forget the tickets. Chapter 59, The Star Wars rehearsal maze has been broken, and entering the door of this copy should be the continuation of the half-finished battle that Xiao Jiu had fought. It is said that there is not much time left and it will be finished soon. Originally, Xiao Jiu and Xia Guixuan's cooperation was just to ask Xia Guixuan to help her break the formation, and there was no mention of helping to fight the dungeon. But Xia Guixuan wanted to go to the dungeon to see for herself. This item was equivalent to helper that Xiao Jiu picked up for free. Especially after knowing that she was the author of the novel. Before I knew you were Xiao Jiu, I was just going to go in and take a look. After knowing you were Xiao Jiu, I just wanted you to finish your work quickly and go back to write the book earlier. Xia Guixuan left this sentence, stepped into the dungeon gate, and disappeared. Xiao Jiu hurriedly chased in. Wait, when I went offline before, there was no monster in front of the boss, you don't? A white light flashed in front of them, and everyone stepped into the dungeon door. The first thing they saw was a huge monster roaring to the sky, thunder and lightning, all over the space. In the thunder, Xia Guixuan flew up, and used his finger as a sword, accurately poking the monster's forehead. Astonished like a flying swan, like a swimming dragon, under the thunder, the young master was peerless, like a sword and a rainbow. The monster's eyebrows bloomed with light, and soon broke into pieces. Including Xiao Jiu, all the girls were stunned. So, handsome, no, the boss was killed in seconds? Then what are we here for? Just to shout 666? In the bloody rain, Xia Guixuan landed on the ground, looked back and asked, are you done? No, Xiao Jiu reacted quickly and flew over. This copy is in an interstellar battleship. The ship type is FGT-14 light frigate, equipped with Type II phase pulse cannon. The mission background is that the ship was invaded and seized by Zelt monsters in a regional war, and we play the role of the elite special warfare division to enter the ship and seize it. Xia Guixuan's eyes were full of circles, and he had a question mark. The second half of the sentence was understandable, but what was the first half of the sentence? I should have read Star Wars earlier. Why read historical romance? This is the interstellar era. Xia Guixuan suddenly realized that until this moment, he had only been involved in the real battle of humans on this planet, and before that he had only seen some corners. In fact, it's not that I don't know, but I thought that things like warships would require the involvement of the human military. I was also thinking about whether to go to Yanwu to hang out. If I had known that I could see it from a game, I would have entered the game long ago. Xiao Jiu finished the sentence and came to Xia Guixuan's side. He took out a crystal core from the monster and embedded it into the metal console covered behind the monster. The console slowly lit up, and a reading progress bar appeared. The mission goal is to regain control of the warship. This is not a space combat simulation game, so real warship operation is not required. The original console repair time is simulated by the system as a reading bar countdown, which is about 5 minutes. Within these 5 minutes, there will be an endless stream of Zelt shadow temples coming from other cabins. We will guard the passage and complete the mission when the reading time ends. Xiao Jiu suddenly changed the subject, but in fact, if you can operate a real warship, there will be a hidden mission follow-up. Who of you can do it? Xia Guixuan and the 3 girls were confused and shook their heads. Xiao Jiu was not surprised and said, I will repair the operation of the main control console. Zillow, go to the right console. There are 7 buttons there. They are the internal cabin detachment buttons. Do not press the red and blue buttons. Press the other 5 buttons. Ning ning, go to the left. Do you see the lever? Pull it open and see if there is a handheld particle cannon inside. Distribute it to everyone. If not, there must be a space escape suit and a medical kit. Anyway, they are useful. Brother Takang, protect me. Without her saying anything, Xia Guixuan turned around and punched a monster that suddenly appeared in the shadow. Monsters rushed in from the left and right channels. Ning pulled the lever and said happily, there is really a handheld particle cannon. A shoulder-mounted gun barrel was thrown to Xia Guixuan. Brother Takang, take it. Xia Guixuan looked at the gun barrel in his hand, suddenly turned around and pressed the button. With a boom, a terrifying beam of light flashed, and the monster rushing out of the right channel turned into ashes. He looked at the light smoke coming out of the gun barrel, and his expression was somewhat interesting and a little painful. It was rare to participate in this battle where I had no idea what I was doing. It was very numb and mechanical, but it was fun to use this high-tech gun barrel to blast people. It was a bit addictive. Boom, another shot, it was fun. Brother Takang, don't waste it. The energy is limited. Xiaoju didn't pay any attention to the battle at all. He squatted there and didn't know what he was repairing. The progress bar had disappeared. It seemed that it had changed to real repair mode, no longer a game simulation. With a sizzling sound, the display screen above the console started. Xia Guixuan took a look. Outside was the vast space. There were friendly ships on the left and right, all of which were invaded by dense monsters. In front was a flagship, facing the monster nest in the distance. The screen had a split screen, showing the status of his own warship. There were shadow monsters in the cabins everywhere, rushing here. Ziluo pressed the cabin detachment button over there. It was clearly visible on the split screen that a cabin detached from the hull, and a group of monsters fell into space in a daze. That's a missile storage cabin, it can self-destruct, Xiaoju said lightly, and suddenly pressed a button. Boom, the detached cabin exploded in the void, and the blue flames burned through the void, turning the monster inside into ashes. Xiaoju ordered, Ziluo, continue, press the yellow one first. Sister Xiaoju, be careful. The girl who was guarding the passage with a handheld particle cannon shouted, there is a shadow temple behind you. The shadow behind Xiaoju twisted, and it seemed that a blade flashed. Then it got stuck in midair. Xia Guixuan appeared behind Xiaoju, pinched the blade with one hand, and then forcibly pulled the monster out of the shadow. Monster, it's already embarrassing for me to become a mechanical combat guard, and you still want to steal my defense, so I can't hold my head up. Xia Guixuan grinned, pinching and pinching with his hands, and the blade was pinched into a twist. The monster screamed hoarsely, and a fist as big as a vinegar pot flew towards it, smashing its head into paste. Xiaoju smiled. Very reliable, Xia Guixuan sighed. It should be. That is a special type of soldier of the Zelts. It is combined with the dark energy of the universe so that we don't know the principle. Only a small amount of radar can detect it. It should be handled by a level 4 soldier. You, a level 3 soldier, are a bit delicate, Xiaoju said casually, and suddenly laughed. It's done. After the redundant cabins on all sides were detached, the endless monsters no longer appeared. On the screen, you can see your main cabin flexibly flying away from the encirclement. Xiaoju's fingers bloomed and jumped on the joystick and buttons, as if playing a piano. A frame appeared on the screen and locked. The mother nest, 3,000 kilometers away, entering the best range of the phase railgun. Xiaoju pushed the joystick again without saying a word. The distance is 1,500 kilometers. It is recommended not to get closer. High risk, 1,000 kilometers. High risk, 800. Xiaoju pressed a red button. Boom, the terrifying beam illuminated the space. In the big explosion, a small main cabin staggered, and fled quickly in the background of the explosion, heading straight for the desolate planet in the distance, like a meteor falling into the earth. Mission completed, completion level SSS super perfect level, extra rewards being calculated. The copy has disappeared, and several people squatted in the desert, looking at each other, with strange expressions. It seems that no one cares about the most exciting task reward calculation in this game. Does our copy take 5 minutes from start to finish? No. It seems to be no more than 2 minutes. It should take several minutes to beat that boss, and then it takes 5 minutes to guard the main cabin according to the system reading bar. Yes, Brother Takan killed the boss in seconds, and Sister Xiaoji used real operations instead of reading bars. It took a total of 1 minute and 53 seconds. I looked at the watch. Sister Xiaoji, you are so amazing. How come you didn't get through halfway before? Xiaoji sat quietly on the side, gently brushing the hair at her temples, and her beautiful eyes stared at Xia Guixuan's face for a long time, as if she wanted to analyze him carefully according to the data. As if he realized that the analysis was not possible, he smiled slightly and said, because there was no Brother Takan before, are there any good historical novels recently? Let's read the July new anime. I want a novel, not anime. The author is called July new anime. Oh, what book? New book? I asked the title of the book. The title of the book is New Book. Chapter 60's Hyayan said that the girls were hired only for commissions and did not take anything from the dungeon. But as members of the team, they also had a share of the rewards for fulfilling the task. I don't know what they got, but they were all very happy. It's late, we have to log off, otherwise our families will scold us. The girls reluctantly added him as a friend and blew a kiss to Xia Guixuan. Brother Takang, please lead us when you team up next time. However, no one would rather be scolded by their family than continue to pester the brother. It seems that this star chasing is not fanatical enough. After all, we have only watched 2 videos. I think that your previous combat performance of killing the boss in seconds attracted more fans. The little stars in their eyes when they left were more tender than when they first met. It is a sign of the conversion of loyal fans, Xiaojiu said with a smile. If you record it into video and spread it out, you will become more popular. Do you want to consider it? No thanks. Xia Guixuan was still frightened by the experience of being surrounded by several girls and sticking to him before. Just like you write books, filming is just a part-time job for me. Why do I need fans? By the way, they're all offline. Why do you still go offline to write books? Xiaojiu laughed. You look like my fan. Xia Guixuan leaned lazily on the rock. Not only am I not a fan, but I want to find 108 faults in you. It's just that it's rare to write about the Taikang period, and I always want to finish reading it, so I won't attack you. Xiaojiu asked curiously, what do you want to find fault with? The Taikang period that has been said to have no female generals. I originally had some opinions on this. Xia Guixuan smiled, but seeing you in person, this is understandable. Xiaojiu was startled, and then Xia Guixuan continued, the cold light shines on the iron armor. You put yourself in the shoes of the female general Aksu, who wants to help Daksha. See, Taikang is just a fictional image. He is beautiful and powerful, but he indulges himself. In fact, he refers to a class in your heart. You love it, but you know it can't last long. I feel that this is why you deliberately chose this background. Xiaojiu widened her eyes and said hurriedly, I told you not to play around. It's a pity that you don't play literary inquisition with your level of imagination. Xia Guixuan smiled. Anyway, the work is written, and how to interpret it belongs to each reader. This is how I interpret it in my heart. As for whether it is right or not, it doesn't matter. After watching your battleship operation today, I feel that my judgment is almost right. Xiaojiu had a speechless expression with her eyes rolled, as if she was too lazy to talk to Xia Guixuan about this kind of irrelevant interpretation, and just said, don't you know that there are more than a dozen battleship-related majors in any university? Do you really think I'm a general? She didn't even realize that her voice was shaking a little when she said this, because her heart was beating very hard. This should be the only one who read her words thoroughly. She was not someone who had time to write books, but she had no place to express her thoughts and aspirations, so she could only find time to write a book called Love Affairs to express her feelings, but she never thought that there was really a soulmate in the world. His eyes seemed to see through everything, from that summer to this summer, across the long river of time. Xia Guixuan didn't seem to intend to argue with her about how many college majors were related to battleships, but instead jumped to the topic. This is the destined fuchsia. The anticipation has weakened. Will there be a next part? Shaokang Xiaoxia. Xiaojiu was a little confused, and said perfunctorily, let's talk about it when we have time. I don't even know if this book should be discontinued. Xia Guixuan rubbed his fists, his eyes dangerous. You have time to play games, and you tell me that you don't know if the book should be discontinued. Xiaojiu shrank back and smiled apologetically. I will try my best to update. Why don't you log off? Wait a minute, Xiaojiu said seriously. Can I ask you a few questions? Huh? That boss is the Dark Archon of Zelt. In terms of individual strength, He is at least level 4 high level. How did you, a level 3 beginner warrior, defeat it in seconds? Because this game is very real. Xia Guixuan smiled. As long as it is a real creature, it has its fatal weakness. It's not that difficult for me to concentrate all my strength to pierce this weakness. The duel between lives is a comprehensive test of various abilities. If it only depends on the level of strength, then everyone should show their levels, and those with low levels can just kneel down. Why fight? Xia Guixuan seemed to understand, but he actually sat there expressionless, with circles on his glasses, as dull as a sidnook. It's not that difficult. The opponent was rated as a high-level 4th level player, not just based on strength. Even if the AI simulation cannot completely simulate the combat response of a real Dark Archon, it would not be seen through by a 3rd level warrior at a glance, and he would dodge like a meteor flying to the moon under the violent thunder attack, and die in one blow, and he couldn't hide. You killed it instantly, not a difficult comeback across levels. And you said it so lightly. Xia Guixuan had seen many special forces soldiers, but none of them were like this one. After thinking about it for a while, he still couldn't understand it, so he had to change the subject and asked, "What about the formation before? Are you from the Immortal Cultivator Association?" "I guess so," Xia Guixuan asked back. "Speaking of this, I am a little curious. How could a game made by us humans have the high-end formations of the descendants of God? Because this was not originally a game made by humans alone," Xia Guixuan asked curiously. "Don't you know? This was developed by humans and the descendants of God when they cooperated in the early years, simulating combat training to deal with his else. However, both sides still have sectarian views. For example, the descendants of God provide various formation tests, but are unwilling to share the solutions. To this day, we are still cracking the various things left by the descendants of God." Xia Guixuan laughed. "That's normal. If all the solutions were shared at the beginning, the descendants of God would probably be exterminated by now." Xia Guixuan did not respond to this. Xia Guixuan asked again, "So the military should have cracked it almost. After all, it's all data simulation, the modeling has been built, and it's easy to crack it in the background." When Xia Guixuan said this, he was a little surprised at his current understanding of technology. It was a little funny to think about it. If he ran to talk to old friends with such terms, I guarantee that the circles in their eyes would be thicker than Xia Guixuan's lenses. It's meaningless to crack an independent formation through the background, because in reality, as long as the formation is changed, the cracking method previously analyzed through the background will be completely worthless. We need to really understand this formation. Xia Guixuan paused and continued, "I studied this subject in college." Xia Guixuan couldn't help but say, "It feels like you and someone I know are not in the same world of university." Xia Guixuan, "Universities are different, and I'm a doctor." "Who is this someone you are talking about? Don't you want to go to college yourself?" Xia Guixuan said with a straight face. "Children from poor families can't afford to go to school." Xia Guixuan had a blank expression. "With all your practice and knowledge, I tell me that you can't afford to go to school." Xia Guixuan also had a blank expression. "You have all this knowledge of warships, commanding abilities, and knowledge of the descendants of gods. Tell me you learned all of this in college. Did that little fox go to elementary school? Well, maybe a PhD is really awesome." The two of them stared at each other for a while, and Xia Guixuan still couldn't stand the man's endless gaze. Her face was slightly flushed, and she lowered her head and said, I'll go offline and write a book for you to read." Xia Guixuan blinked his eyes. "Can you skip the flirting with change?" "That's not true, no. As an author, even if you beat me up, I won't change the outline casually." As he spoke, Xia Guixuan's body flashed with white light, and he disappeared offline. Xia Guixuan sat there and thought for a while, and felt that Xia Guixuan's secrets were very interesting. Most of them were military personnel. Will his performance be noticed by the military? It would be fun if the Special Warfare Division came to recruit people. At this time, Yan Wuyu received a call from Guangxin Jiayu. "Wuyu, come here, I have something to ask you." Chapter 61, The hexagram cannot be completely calculated. Yan Wuyu was a little nervous when she received the call. The deputy commander was usually very serious and would call him Commander Yan or General Yan. It was very rare to call him Wuyu, which was a more intimate name. It happened occasionally in the past, when the deputy commander occasionally acted like a literary youth and had some feelings. It was very, very rare. But this time, he was summoned at night and called Wuyu. "Are you going to show your cards? Marry me or be my mistress?" I will refuse either one. Are you going to flee? Yan Wuyu knocked on the door carefully. The door was ajar and opened as soon as he knocked. It seemed that the deputy commander had just entered the door. Looking out, Gongsun Jiayu was leaning on his large office chair, staring at the light screen on his watch in a trance. Is there a video on the light screen? The back is not clear. Yan Wuyu walked forward and took a look from the side, and her expression became more and more strange. She saw Zhu, a female general of the Xia dynasty played by Ling Mozhu, talking to Si Taking. She had seen this video before. She was very concerned about Ling Moxu's new movements and saw it at the first time. As a result, watching Xia Guixuan and Ling Moxu rolling around in the video, Yan Wuyu had no idea what she felt. It was too weird. At the moment, the expression of Deputy Marshal Gongsun seemed to be very weird. Your Majesty. The people's hearts are changing, and your Majesty is still in charge of brewing. A group of slaves are dissatisfied. Just kill them and sacrifice them to the heaven. Your Majesty, the people's hearts cannot be insulted. The voice in the video spread slowly, and Xia Guixuan's voice was evil and indifferent. Gongsun Jiayu pressed the pause button. The sharp eyes behind the glasses carefully stared at Xia Guixuan in the pause for a long time, and then said slowly, Ling Moxu has no acting taste. She shouldn't play this role. Yan Wuyu wondered if she was hallucinating. The deputy marshal was watching the fast version of the video here, and seriously commenting on the acting skills. Where did he have such leisure time? However, the deputy commander and Ling Moxu have never gotten along well. She knew this and said, Ling Moxu is not a person who cares about the public. It's really not right for her to play this role. It feels very fake. Gongsun Jiayu finally looked up at her and said with a smile, have you seen this video? What do you think? Si Taking acted very well, Yan Wuyu said. Actually, I don't think he is that kind of person. How come he can act well, but Ling Moxu can't? Gongsun Jiayu said with a smile. Do you know this actor? Yan Wuyu did not hide the fact, because this idiot Xia Guixuan did not hide anything at all. His name was on the cast list. Anyone who was interested would know it as soon as they asked. There was no point in hiding it. This is Xia Guixuan, Yin Xiaoru's boyfriend. Yin Xiaoru and I are friends, so of course I know him. Boyfriend. Gongsun Jiayu smiled and said, I heard that Ling Moxu is competing with Yin Xiaoru for her boyfriend. Yan Wuyu really felt that the deputy commander had lost his mind today. This kind of market rumor is mixed with gossip and hype from the entertainment industry. No one knows whether it is true or not. Why would the deputy commander care about this? Is he really planning to marry Ling Moxu and feels that he has been cheated? Gongsun Jiayu smiled and said, if I marry Ling Moxu, what will you do? Yan Wuyu, are you really not getting married for me? Gongsun Jiayu blinked. Just think of it as that, isn't it good? Yan Wuyu always felt that the deputy commander was possessed today, and said speechlessly, you summoned me at night and asked this, huh, you have such a bad temper. Forget it. Gongsun Jiayu smiled and said, just now, the observation department of the military observing the Star Wars game reported that Xia Guixuan is a third-level warrior with excellent skills and knowledge of the divine formation. Since you are familiar with him, how about inviting him to your special operations department to take up a position? It seems very suitable. Yan Wuyu subconsciously wanted to disobey. Who is qualified to make him a subordinate? A third-level warrior? Which rubbish that neglected his duty observed it, and Mr. Galaxy. Only a strong person of Yan Wuyu's level can know how terrifying he is. Ordinary people really don't have such a concept. Maybe Ling Moxu's understanding of the terrifying degree of her master is not as deep as Yan Wuyu's. Speaking of this guy, what kind of game is he playing when he is full? Forget it, he is a free-spirited person, and no one can guess. On second thought, since Xia Guixuan has already entered the military's field of vision, who knows what will happen if others contact him? It is better to discuss it with him. Thinking of this, he agreed readily. Okay, I'll go ask. First ask the deputy commander, what rank can I give him? Gongsun Jiayu smiled. Give it within your authority, you can offer a high price. He may be related to the Immortal Cultivator Association, and we are also competing with the Immortal Cultivator Association for people, seeing that he was given. Yan Wuyu was more speechless. Okay. By the way, Deputy Commander, are you in a particularly good mood today? Well, Wuyu, you like painting, right? Not really, just doodles. If you carefully carved an abstract scroll, but no one can understand what you painted, and someone you don't like takes it and scribbles on it, Will you not want to paint anymore? Of course, I will beat up the person who scribbled it first, and then tear up the painting with my own hands, but if someone understands it, will you still tear it up? Yan Wuyu was stunned. If no one understands, but one person understands, it is not easy to have such a confidant. If it were me, if I continue to paint in the future, it would only be for this person to see. Hey, Deputy Commander, you are not talking about me, are you? Gongsun Jiayu showed a very nice smile. Yes. Without you to help me, it would be much more difficult for me. Go and do the work. Yan Wuyu curled his lips and bowed and left. Xia Guixuan didn't stay in the game for long. Although the battle today was short, it was a great success for him. After sorting out the rewards for the excess tasks, he went offline. The rewards are indeed very rich. This is not an upgrade game. It is all based on self-simulation. The rewards are all various equipment, potions, and other task items and other special items. Xia Guixuan didn't care much about these before, but after experiencing the fun of the shoulder-fired particle cannon, he became interested now. I think the rewards this time are of high quality and can get rid of the boredom of the blank NT-type level 3 battlesuit. It's a pity that I don't recognize any of the rewards I got. I can't use my mind to scan and analyze them in the game. It's not intuitive to query the information I know one by one. I thought I would ask Xiao Jiayu tomorrow, so I put them away and went offline directly. After leaving the game cabin, passing by Yin Xiaoru's dormitory, the door was not closed. Yin Xiaoru was about to sit cross-legged to practice with her toes bent. She was surprised to see Xia Guixuan coming out. How long have you been in there and you're out? Only about 10 minutes. Is the game not fun or does the girl with glasses not want you anymore? Xia Guixuan, how do you know there's a girl with glasses? Ahem, of course I'm a vixen and I know everything by counting on my fingers. Yin Xiaoru said nonsense casually, but suddenly froze. Oh, you're so good. Can you tell fortunes? Xia Guixuan said. I can, but I haven't done it for a long time. Why? To put it in a big way, the way of heaven is unpredictable. Who can know everything? I can't predict my own path, nor can I predict my opponents of the same level, which only adds to my troubles. To put it in a small way, it is indeed convenient to predict good fortune and avoid disaster, but it can also easily make people dependent on it. Gradually, people will be too lazy to analyze and observe on their own, and blindly rely on divination, which is not a good trend, and they may even be cheated. So unless you really encounter something urgent that must be calculated, don't do it. Then, Yin Xiaoru hesitated. How about calculating for others? Xia Guixuan saw what she was thinking at a glance. Want to calculate for relatives? Yin Xiaoru hesitated for a long time, and finally said, forget it. Don't count. Then she jumped down. Are you stuck in the game? Come on, sister will take you to complete the task. Xia Guixuan did not continue to ask her, but smiled. How can you take me on the task with only one cabin? Yin Xiaoru came to his side, put her arms around his neck with seductive eyes. Our game company's design is very user-friendly. We don't want people's married life to be unhappy because of the game, so two people can hug each other into the cabin together. Do you want to try? Xia Guixuan really wanted to laugh, but he didn't push her away. Little fox, what university did you graduate from? Yin Xiaoru said confidently. Sanghayu Bioengineering College. Xia Guixuan had no idea about this, but still asked, is it difficult to study for a doctorate? Doctor? Yin Xiaoru was very surprised. Why should I study for a doctorate? I want to be the kind of marriage-hungry party who wears glasses and has a stern face and no one can understand when she says a term. When looking for a marriage partner, I just want a man. I am young and beautiful. Why would I bother to do that? You are the only one who can make lazy work sound so fresh and refined. Xia Guixuan smiled and said, okay, you go practice, I'll go see Fat Tiger. Yin Xiaoru was about to say something when Xia Guixuan's watch rang. She stretched her head and saw, Yan Wuyu. Yin Xiaoru was full of suspicion. Are you going to see Fat Tiger or Fat C? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62, Fear of the Unpredictable Way of Heaven. In Yin Xiaoru's mind, Xia Guixuan was Yan Wuyu's first love, and they had flirted with each other. Although this perception was a far cry from the truth, Yin Xiaoru did not have the nervous jealousy she had towards Ling Moxu. Because Sister Yan had a good relationship with her, and also because this couple was impossible, haha. Yin Xiaoru felt that Sister Yan was very likely to be the marshal's wife. Last time, Deputy Marshal Gongsun was so angry for her that he almost poked a hole in the sky. The people of Daxia still talk about it, and there is almost a play about it. In most people's minds, the two have long been a couple. Now, no matter how long Yan Wuyu stays in Deputy Marshal Gongsun's office, no one will gossip about him. Instead, everyone estimates the Deputy Marshal's ability in that aspect based on the time Yan Wuyu spends in there. For example, he only went in for a few minutes tonight and came out, so the Deputy Marshal's reputation has become a little hard to say. Gongsun Jiu had anticipated this and had said to Yan Wuyu before, "My actions this time may lead to more unfavorable rumors for you. Please bear with me." In fact, if the two of them think more carefully, they will realize that sometimes when rumors are deeply rooted in people's minds, they can be forced to become facts. For the sake of the reputation of the two national generals, they may have to get together. It's just that these two people who seem very smart on weekdays, for some reason, got confused in this matter, and both sides seem to have not thought about it. In short, Yin Xiaoru was almost sure, and when she saw Xia Guixuan answering the phone, she told him nervously, "If you want to hook up with Sister Yan, do it sooner, otherwise something bad will happen." What happened? Yan Wuyu's face popped up on the screen, and it was still a video call. "Hey, Xiaoru, you are here too. Hey, isn't this your room? You told me that you broke up, that's it. Oh, don't care about these details. Anyway, you're telling others that you're your boyfriend. Don't let it slip when you introduce him to others. Got it? The person I'm introducing to others today is your boyfriend." Yan Wuyu was not happy seeing her bad character. "I think you should stop pretending. What the hell is this breakup? There's a bed behind you, how about you just roll on it and let me watch a live broadcast? I'll send you a rocket. How come these female drivers are so good at driving?" Xia Guixuan interrupted him immediately. "What do you want from me?" When Yan Wuyu spoke to him, his tone became much more serious. "Did you go to the game today? Oh, did the military really ask you to find me?" Xia Guixuan smiled and said, "That guy is really a member of your military?" Yan Wuyu asked curiously. "Who? Military observers don't enter the game." "I didn't say she was an observer. I guess she was a scientific researcher who played the game by herself." Xia Guixuan didn't say that it was the author Xiao Jiu. After all, the author might not be willing to reveal his real identity, so he said, "A girl with glasses named Han Guang Zhao Tai Yi, with a serious military posture." Girl, Yan Wuyu thought for a while. There are indeed many female soldiers in the field of scientific research, and there are even more who go to the game to do various tests, especially the test of cracking the divine formation. That's right. There are too many people who are specific. It's impossible to guess, and there is no need to care who it is. Anyway, you are right. The deputy commander gave me a task and asked me to pull you into the Special Warfare Division." Xia Guixuan smiled and said, "I'm not going to be a soldier." "I knew it." Yan Wuyu hesitated and said, "How about being a consultant? A consultant like a technical and combat instructor, or a pharmacy consultant?" Especially the latter. Many academicians hold this position concurrently, so there is no need to sign in by name. Cannot convince others with something that an academician holds concurrently, then be a technical and combat consultant. You can just beat them up and they will be convinced. "Do you want to obey orders from your superiors?" Yan Wuyu blushed a little. "You don't have to listen to other subordinates, and you can only listen to your direct commander. Just like I don't even obey the orders of the Grand Marshal, I only listen to the Deputy Marshal." Yin Xiaoru laughed. "Ha," and Yan Wuyu's face turned even redder. She felt so embarrassed when she blushed, just like a little kid who put his hands on his hips and said to an adult that he would be your boss from now on and would protect you. Xia Guixuan also laughed. "So you want to be my boss?" Yan Wuyu was a little weak. "I won't order you around, let's discuss it." Yin Xiaoru poked her head out. "My Cindy wants to be on top." Yan Wuyu, "Then does she want to be a marshal, with even the deputy marshal below?" Yin Xiaoru grinned. "That would be the best." "You're dreaming." Yin Xiaoru, Yan Wuyu said unhappily. "Seriously, since the military has set its sights on your Xia, if I fail in the negotiations this time, other departments will continue to come to you. Since you don't want to join the army, you might as well join me. At least there won't be any boss bossing you around." Xia Guixuan laughed. Who said I don't want to? Yin Xiaoru and Yan Wuyu were both stunned. Huh? I want to get involved in your battleship warfare, but I don't like being restrained. I was thinking about whether to ask you to be a researcher or something. Now this proposal is just what I want. Xia Guixuan smiled and said, are you recruiting people on the orders of the deputy commander? Is this deputy commander Gongsun so easy to talk to? I don't know why he is in a particularly good mood today. Yan Wuyu also sighed and smiled. Since you have this intention, it's easy to say. The deputy commander allows me to act within my authority. My official position is not small. I can directly give you the rank of captain. From now on, you will be a captain in the military. Your information will be entered into the file tomorrow and the documents will be sent to you soon. If anyone dares to say that you are a son-in-law in the future, let her taste our military boxing. Yin Xiaoru. Yan Wuyu seemed not to see the fox's question mark face, and said without looking away, this process is a bit frivolous. It's not acceptable if someone is serious about it. Anyway, it's a secret identity. Don't tell others about it in your daily life to avoid trouble. In addition, military law, military regulations, military posture and salute, etc., you can take a look. There will always be occasions where it is necessary. You should understand it at a glance. Xia Guixuan smiled. It's okay, I can act like anything. I know you are a good actor. Yan Wuyu's eyes began to squint. I have a suggestion. Since Sita Kang is a king, it is not surprising to have several concubines. I suggest fast forward to the scene where Ling Moxu is pushed down, so that everyone can see the bed scene. Xia Guixuan. Yin Xiaoru exploded. This kind of short video is not that kind of short video. What are you thinking about? Yan Wuyu hugged her shoulders and said nothing. She now knows what happened in the crypt. Xia Guixuan must have known Ling Moxu at that time. As for why they became related to filming together, she really can't figure it out. This man's thinking is impossible to guess. Anyway, he and I are just friends of friends, and I have no right to ask him to do something. But I can't help but feel a little jealous. Why do I feel like you saved me, but you become better friends with my enemy? Do you want me to help her beat me next time? Yan Wuyu didn't show it, but said calmly, okay, mission accomplished, I'm hanging up. Xiaoru, hold on to your boyfriend. The entertainment industry is very chaotic, and there will be many temptations when you become a big star. The image of Yan Wuyu slowly disappeared. Xia Guixuan and Yin Xiaoru looked at each other. Yin Xiaoru sighed. Why hold on to your boyfriend? Don't talk about boyfriend or not, now you don't even need me at all. On the surface, you are a rising star, and behind the scenes, you are a senior lieutenant in the military. Your identity is so multifaceted that you can even publish a book. Xia Guixuan said helplessly, you are you, why do you have to be useful? To be honest, I never consider whether the other person is useful or not when making friends, because no one is useful. Yin Xiaoru said, I don't believe it. No matter how powerful you are now, it is impossible that you didn't have a weak time. Did anyone help you back then? Xia Guixuan was stunned, and said slowly, yes, but they are probably not friends now. She is good enough that she doesn't hate me. Yin Xiaoru couldn't tell whether this she was a man or a woman, but she felt so involved that she couldn't help asking, why? Are you really that heartless? Maybe. I thought back then that I would agree to whatever she wanted, but in the end I found out that I couldn't give her what she wanted. Xia Guixuan paused, and suddenly said, you asked me to tell fortunes just now. I told her about my future a long time ago, and the hexagram was not perfect but it was pretty good. I thought there would never be any quarrels between us. But today the universe is so vast, and it's hard to resolve grudges. Even if we meet again, it will be like a tangled mess. So, the way of heaven is unpredictable, what can we tell? Yin Xiaoru was silent for a moment, and said faintly, then where do you get the confidence that what you think now will never change in the future? Chapter 63, I want to tell Yaoken my feelings. Xia Guixuan looked at Yin Xiaoru in surprise for a long while, then smiled and said, sometimes you are like a husky, and sometimes you look at things very sharply. Humph, what you said does have some meaning, but no one cares whether you will change in the future. It is enough to stick to your heart and do what you should do now. Xia Guixuan did not continue to discuss too deeply with the little fox. He stood up and smiled. You look simple in small matters, but you are very clear-headed in big matters. If you can really calm down and practice, your achievements will be limitless. The fox bared its teeth. Who looks simple? Xia Guixuan said. Change it to a nicer name? This is called a pure child. Yin Xiaoru was not serious for a few minutes. Her eyes rolled around and she started again. I knew that our Cindy is a repressed and sultry person. She has a serious expression on her face, but I don't know what she is thinking in her heart. Xia Guixuan was puzzled. What was I thinking about? Yin Xiaoru came forward and said in a nickname, when you say pure child, do you mean a naked girl? Xia Guixuan turned away. Hey wait, Yin Xiaoru pulled his sleeve, biting her lower lip and said, I talked about it during dinner before. Do you want to try it? What did they talk about during dinner? Xia Guixuan thought for a while before remembering that he said he would deliberately find a woman to seduce him in his arms to see if he could practice with a calm mind. He shook his head speechlessly. Little fox, I don't know if you want to show that you are useful, or if you want to see how long I can keep the serious face. But I really tell you, it's useless. Yin Xiaoru was just teasing him out of habit, and she didn't intend to do it. As a result, she was dissatisfied after hearing this. I don't believe it. I was meditating at the stone table that day. Wasn't there something wrong with your performance? Are you telling me it's useless? Men are men after all, not robots. Xia Guixuan sighed. My practice is indeed not perfect, so there are some worries that need to be cut off, some ties that need to be let go, and sometimes I will be inadvertently aroused by some curiosity or something else. I haven't completely achieved a calm mind, Tai Shuangyu. This is normal, so I have to continue practicing. Yin Xiaoru tilted her head to look at him, with a smile in her eyes. His words were tantamount to admitting that he was inadvertently hooked by her at the beginning, and it turned out that he could really bite the hook. Xia Guixuan continued with a straight face, but that is at most a slight ripple in my heart, which will not affect anything, let alone that it will work when I am prepared. Otherwise, I would have died 10,000 times long ago, and how could I have come to this day? Not to mention you, a little fox, even if the nine-tailed fox who has practiced to the top stood here, it would not be able to seduce me. Yin Xiaoru was so dissatisfied that she almost blurted out, let's try it now? You don't use any skills to resist, just rely on your concentration. Is it really useless when you are prepared? The words came to her lips but she couldn't say them. She is a descendant of the fox tribe who grew up in human society. Human concepts and reserves still have a great influence on her. She is not a little fox who has always developed her fox talent. On weekdays, she can flirt with him verbally. And at most she can sell semi-benefits. If she really wants to go all out to flirt with him and ask for it, she can't say it. It feels like she is just being a slut. It's not that serious. As for, if he asked for it himself, I would probably give it a try reluctantly, just as if I was helping him practice. It's a pity that Xia Guixuan himself would not ask for it. A small drama that seems to have the potential to change the relationship is stuck there. Xia Guixuan smiled and rubbed her head, and his voice was much softer. Little fox, don't think about it, go practice. After saying that, he turned and left. Watching Xia Guixuan disappear, Yin Xiaoru angrily threw herself on the bed, pulled the pillow over her head, and her heart was in a mess. How could she practice? At the top of the ecological park, Xia Guixuan stood in the hall of the bamboo building with his hands behind his back, quietly looking at the paintings on the wall. The person in the painting smiled gently, and her bright eyes, like autumn water, seemed alive, fixed on him, seeming gentle and resentful. The old voice echoed in my ears again, congratulations Taking for achieving the great Dao of taking. From now on, you are the East Emperor. In this world, you are the Immortal Emperor and I am your subordinate. Whether I am the Queen of Xia or the East Emperor, you are my sister. Well, as the Immortal Emperor, do you want a concubine? I am in charge of marriage. Do you want me to find one for you? The path is above and the external enemies are ahead. Do you, sister, hope that I can be the Taking who once indulged myself? You are not Si Taking, then who are you? We call each other by our clan names, and the name Si Taking was originally a misunderstanding by outsiders. Now that the Xia dynasty has long since died and the Queen of Xia, Taking, is dead, I am of the Xia family and returned to the Zuanmen, with the name Xia Guixuan. In my heart, Taking still sounds better. You want to give up, but you can't give up completely. Taking, you are not that kind of person at all, but I have achieved taking in this way and stopped the external enemies. Otherwise, this world would have been destroyed. Sister, because you have missed it before, you know what is right. What if one day I am too clear? Then the Immortal Emperor is my sister. I have repaid my debts to this world and fulfilled my duties. I have no more worries. I should travel through the heavens and myriad worlds to see the supreme path. This conversation happened many years ago. It seemed like billions of years ago, but it also seemed like it was just yesterday. Sometimes Xia Guixuan would think that if it weren't for her, he might not remember that he was taking. That was a past that had long been dead, and even he despised and didn't want to recall. Only she kept using that name, which seemed to express the absolute difference from what others called her. With her, even if the three words taking were a wrong name, they still made me feel close to them at first sight. I still followed a novel written by someone else, watched others pour out their personal sustenance that had nothing to do with the real taking, and play the role myself. What was I commemorating? My homeland, myself, or her? Beep, the watch made a push sound. Xia Guixuan looked down and saw that it was a reminder of the novel update. Daxia Love Affairs has updated the chapter. I want to entrust my thoughts to Yaoken. Xia Guixuan's mind was withdrawn from the ancient times. He read the chapter title for a long time and suddenly laughed. This Xiaoju is also a stubborn person. She firmly denied her interpretation in person, but she gave such a tactful response. I want to tell my heart to the zither, but there are few people who understand me. Who listen when the string breaks. She said she wanted to be a eunuch. It seems that she really thought so, but now I will write it offline for you to read. The content is as expected. It is Axa playing the zither, and taking is listening quietly from afar. To others, it seems that it is just a watered-down chapter, and there are a lot of scolding. Xia Guixuan found it very interesting. Write a fictional reflection of herself and taking, and show it to an actor who plays taking, but it happens to be the real taking. What she said and wrote was really listened to by him, and it also entered her heart. taking in the novel is listening to Axa playing the zither. taking in reality is reading Xiaoju's story. From ancient times to the present, fiction and reality have been subtly intersected in this way. That's good. My injury is getting better. This is the difficulty of reality and illusion, and the twists and turns of human heart. Xia Guixuan thought for a moment and posted a comment. What time? Somewhere in the darkness, the eyes behind the lens looked at the comment titled chopped into meat sauce, blinked a few times, and responded quickly. The cold light shone on TIE. I'm free at 9 in the morning. The nonsensical question and answer aroused strong indignation from the onlookers. The Riddler, get out of Gotham City, but the two parties never showed up again. 9 in the morning. In the game Star Age, two white lights lit up almost at the same time on the rocks outside the door of a desert copy near the main city, and a man and a woman came online at the same time. Looking at the lingering white light on each other, Xia Guixuan and Xiaoju smiled at each other. Good morning. After a pause, Xiaoju said a little embarrassedly, you wouldn't wait for the update until midnight, would you? Xia Guixuan said, if I said yes, would you be touched? Xiaoju frowned. No, Xia Guixuan smiled. Although I didn't wait on purpose, I did wait for the update. Xiaoju laughed then. Not bad, you are honest enough. The remarks before that sounded like picking up girls are not suitable for you, so don't say them in the future. Xia Guixuan shook his head. In fact, even if I said I waited on purpose, you don't have to be touched. Because you stayed up until midnight just to write it for me alone, and it seems that I am the one who should be touched. Chapter 64 Xiaojuj. Xiaoju's eyes curved slightly, and she felt a little happy in her heart. You really are a kindred spirit, knowing that I only wrote this for you. Looking at this, I can understand what the whole chapter is expressing. Well, I can't admit it, otherwise I don't know if this man will have wild thoughts. This man doesn't seem to be a good person. He lives in Yin Xiaoru's house and rolls around with Ling Moxu. Who said I wrote it for you alone? I have so many readers. Xiaoju glared at him quickly, looking a little angry. I feel that you have changed today. Every sentence you say seems to be teasing. Isn't it your mood that has changed? Xia Guixuan laughed dumbly. Just like when I first met you, you looked bookish on the outside, but actually hidden pride and scrutiny. Aren't they gone now? Xiaoju was stunned for a moment and snorted coldly. The mission is completed. I have reported your situation to my superiors. If there is any scrutiny, it should be done by my superiors. It has nothing to do with me. Xiaoju. Oh, you sound so confident. Do you think it's reasonable to sell out my information? I'm a soldier. Is that your duty? Are you from the game observation department? That. Xiaoju was finally a little embarrassed and smiled apologetically. Because I think you are so awesome. It would be a pity if you don't serve the country. Have you joined? I said I need to think about it, Xia Guixuan said with a straight face. You want me to join, right? Then give me the conditions. What does it mean to let Commander Yan oppress me? I didn't let her oppress you. I don't have the power to order her around. I just reported to my superiors. Since someone of Yan's level can come to you, the blame must be on the deputy commander. You should go and scold the deputy commander. Stop talking nonsense. Where is your sincerity? Xiao Jiu said helplessly. What are you going to do? Change the plot. I knew it. Xiao Jiu blinked his eyes. How about this? I will add some good plots for you without adjusting the outline. I guarantee you will be satisfied. What plot? I'm a self-righteous author. I won't spoil the plot, Xiao Jiu said seriously. Anyway, it will definitely satisfy you. If you are not satisfied, come to me. Okay. Xia Guixuan didn't expect her to really change the plot. To put it bluntly, that was Xiao Jiu's own metaphor. If it was really changed to the real Si Takang he knew, what would it matter? That's enough of the topic. Xia Guixuan returned to the main topic. I asked you to go online because I wanted you to lead me. Huh? Lead you to play games, mainly equipment and warships. I want you to introduce them to me. I got a lot of rewards yesterday. I saw that there were even warship accessories. I was confused. As for leading you to do tasks, I'm not interested, and I know you don't have so much time. Warship operations are hidden in the game. The military can't fully disclose such things to the public, so the game is simulated with system operations. If you want to unlock the real operation, you really need me to lead you, but I really don't have so much time, Xiao Jiu said apologetically. Even if I go online this time, I probably won't be online for less than half an hour. You have so little time. Why do you play games and write books? You know why I write books. As for games, Xiao Jiu looked at the mirage of the desert in the distance with a melancholy look, and whispered, first, I want to study some things, and second, because, you see, I'm a literary girl. I dare not put myself in such a dangerous situation to fight in reality. This game can be regarded as self-training. I can't always live under the protection of others. Xia Guixuan smiled and said, literary girl? Your writing is actually average. Xiao Jiu stared at her, but curled her lips. She didn't defend herself, but sighed and said, forget it, my writing is bad, so I dare not offend the only real reader? Xia Guixuan laughed. Xiao Jiu said again, you were right before. Games are just games after all. How can you experience real crisis? I've been considering whether to quit. After all, there are many people doing things like studying formations. I'm just doing it by the way, Xia Guixuan said, not really. There's still fun in experiencing battles. I think it's quite fun. Since you can't take me with you in the battleship category, I'll play the gun and armor combat category by myself. You can just help introduce one or two. Xiao Jiu thought about it and smiled. If that's the case, I suggest you team up with me to double row in the arena. This is not like going through a dungeon where you can't waste time. You can go online and queue up at any time. The slowest time to play a game is a few minutes, and the fastest is more than 10 seconds. After the game, you can just log off if you have something to do. Both our needs can be met. Xia Guixuan was very interested and soon saw the system prompt. Han Guangzhou Taiyi sent an invitation to form a team in the arena. Please name the team. Xia Guixuan nodded in agreement and smiled. You write a book, you name it, your name is Xia Guixuan. Well, did you go to see the cast list? My name is Xiao Jiu, so it's Xia Zhijiu Jack, right? Let's name it that. Xia Guixuan was stunned, silent for a while, and suddenly smiled. Just call it Jiu Jack. It doesn't have to be that long, then you're at a disadvantage. It's not reflected in your name. I'm just a passerby in the game. I'll leave when I'm done. And you have a dream, you can make it come true with Jiu Jack. Xiao Jiu tilted his head and looked at him for a while, but didn't agree, but still insisted on entering his last name. Xia Jiu's team, congratulations on not being occupied, the name is approved. Matching teams. 3, 2, 1, a white light flashed, and the two entered the new map at the same time. The map was no longer a battleship, but a small battlefield, with a crystal-like energy body in the center, and the two competing sides were fighting around this energy body. A thin light curtain enveloped the two of them. There was also a light curtain on the opposite side in the distance. Two big men inside were laughing in surprise. I didn't expect that there would be a duo of Jianfu and Yinfu so early in the morning. Xia Jiu, the name of this team is so literary. Haha, Xia Guixuan glanced at the other team, Rainy Knight carrying a knife but no umbrella team. It seems that you guys are also very literary. The other side was shouting, hey, buddy, can you lead this girl with glasses? What if we kill her and the girl gets angry and you can't trick the cannon? Xiao Jiu sneered and explained to Xia Guixuan in a low voice, now is the time for tactical arrangements, ignore their trash talk. Listen to me. This is a simulation of a battle for energy crystals on a small celestial body. Go to the center to get the crystals, and then put them in the light circle under our feet, and you will win. Or you can completely kill the two opponents, which is also a victory. It's a very simple small competition. She glanced at the two people opposite in the distance and said quickly, the other side is also a newcomer to the arena. Their equipment is almost the same as yours, but one of them is holding a JT-044 small atomic gun that can completely penetrate your combat armor. The other one has obvious traces of an octopus grabber on his belt. Be careful that he may grab the crystal remotely and run away. Sometimes Xia Guixuan felt that this guy was simply an artificial intelligence when it came to modern firearms and equipment. He could understand them at a glance, which was even more awesome than a spiritual scan. I'll arrange the tactics, Xiao Jiu said. When the opponent sees this map mode randomly, they will definitely use the atomic gun to cover the firepower at the first time according to the equipment advantage, and the other person will grab remotely. If you are not prepared, they will win in seconds. We should disperse left and right at the first time, and don't let the firepower cover two people. There's a Zhengjin cutter in your reward yesterday. Throw it out to cut off the opponent's grabbing trajectory. My equipment is good, go out to track the firepower of the other person. Before he finished speaking, the time for tactical arrangement had passed. Xia Guixuan didn't have time to answer okay. The light curtain dissipated, and the opponent really raised the atomic gun that was said to be very powerful at the first time, and the huge beam swept over. Since the team played with Xiao Jiu, Xia Guixuan didn't show his personal ability. According to Xiao Jiu's arrangement, the two dispersed left and right at the first time. The opponent's beam swept directly into nothing. At the same time, an octopus-shaped 8-clawed metal arm almost instantly reached the crystal position and grabbed it. Xia Guixuan threw out a disc-shaped object, which flew away like a frisbee. There was only a barely audible sound, as if invisible filaments were cut, and the octopus stopped there. Everything was exactly as Xiao Jiu had analyzed beforehand. Xia Guixuan nodded in his heart, turned his head and saw Xiao Jiu shooting at the other gunman with a very delicate gun. The other party also subconsciously fought back. Xiao Jiu dodged quickly and shouted, I'm pestering him, you go get the crystal, be careful, if this arrangement is followed, it should be a situation of winning in seconds. Xiao Jiu is very clear about Xia Guixuan's ability. It is a piece of cake to fight against the opponent alone to grab a crystal. There is no suspense in winning the first battle within 10 seconds. But Xia Guixuan sighed and found that Xiao Jiu knew everything, but she didn't understand how incompetent her own combat ability was. No wonder, she herself said that she came to the game for her own combat training. Boom, a white light swept past, and a rock exploded. Xiao Jiu had been hiding well, but couldn't withstand the impact of the explosion. He lay on the ground in a mess, his glasses were crooked, and his face was covered with mud. The other party raised his gun and laughed, goodbye, glasses girl. The white light flashed again. A figure rushed over from the side, holding Xiao Jiu and rolling away quickly. The white light exploded on the ground. And under the smoke and dust, a man and a woman rolled away holding each other. The scene was like slow motion, but strangely, it seemed to have happened somewhere before. Chapter 65 You are more important than the treasure. This is not a movie shoot. There is no slow motion and no light music. This is a real battlefield. The situation is urgent and the experience is not romantic. Xiao Jiu's lips really brushed against Xia Guixuan's cheek, and he didn't even feel sad, angry, or ashamed, but it hurt. Even so, she inevitably had a sense of déjà vu in her heart, and automatically replaced a video she had seen with her imagination. Originally, the accent she wrote was herself, but she had no chance to experience it in person, and could only watch someone who shouldn't have played that role occupy that position. But the scene reappeared at this moment, and it was more real than that fake performance. The scrolling stopped. In fact, it was less than half a second. God knows how many things she thought about. There was no tender gaze after the stop. Only Xia Guixuan took out a gun that he had received as a reward for the mission yesterday, and he didn't even have time to ask about a model, and fired back. He didn't aim, nor did he adjust to the recoil and the crosshairs, etc. Anyway, it was just a shot. A subtle blue light flashed, and a red dot appeared on the opponent's forehead, and he died directly and disappeared in the arena. It was as if they had practiced it thousands of times. The other person had already taken the crystal and ran away. In fact, even if someone died, as long as they took the crystal, they would still win. Just when the crystal was about to be put into the aperture on their side, the second gunshot rang out. The crystal fell to the ground, and the opponent disappeared in light. The enemy team was completely wiped out. Congratulations to Xia Guixuan's team for winning the first victory in the arena. Points and rewards are being calculated. The arena was not closed directly. The small battle space was in a mess. Xia Guixuan's glasses had rolled away and she was crawling on the ground looking for them, looking pitiful. Xia Guixuan quickly picked them up and handed them over. Xia Guixuan took it silently, and the atmosphere was quiet for a while. Xia Guixuan wanted to ask when he could leave this space, but he didn't ask when he saw this. He also guessed that the girl was probably in a mess. Even if there was no plot coincidence and video of her writing a book, it would probably be a bit awkward for a woman to be hugged and rolled around by a man. However, due to the physical limitations of a third-level warrior, and the game system being unable to determine his immortal skills, he really couldn't do anything too immortal, and could only rely on this earthly method. He couldn't think of a topic for a moment, but heard Xia Guixuan speak first. "Why did you save me?" Xia Guixuan was stunned. "Huh?" Xia Guixuan said indifferently. "This is a game arena, not a real war. You know there is no real crisis in the game, and I won't really die. As long as you take the crystal, you will win, but you give up the chance to win and save a meaningless data person. It's just a little bit short, and the crystal is taken back by the other party, and you lose." Xia Guixuan said. "Are you blaming me for saving you?" Xia Guixuan pursed his lips. From the perspective of the game, his rescue was indeed stupid. If you die in the arena, nothing will be deducted, so what is there to save? Her combat ability is weak, how could he not know? Originally, he planned that he would most likely die by attracting firepower, and anyway, Xia Guixuan won by taking the crystal. Even in a real war, whether Xia Guixuan should be punished for doing this would be controversial. In order to achieve the victory of strategic goals, individual lives can often be sacrificed, because your emotionality may lead to greater sacrifices. Just like the trolley problem, this dispute has no result. If you simply use the cold military law of Daxia, you will be punished if you act outside the order without authorization. Xia Guixuan smiled. "I know what you think. But, whether it is a game or reality, there is no place to consider saving people. This is not a war, there is no military order. I am just competing with my companions for treasures with the enemy, and my companions' lives are more important than treasures, there is no doubt about it. Games are even more so. Is there any meaning for virtual data rewards? Losing is losing, saving people is the first priority." Xia Guixuan's eyes flashed, pointing at himself and said, "But in fact, I am just virtual data, not a real person." Xia Guixuan said, "They are both two pieces of data, so you are much more important. If you can really let your companions die and fight for a broken crystal for points and rewards, then the so-called practice is really ridiculous. You'd better make less such arrangements in the future, it's disgusting." Xia Guixuan looked at him steadily, but his lips were slightly curved, as if smiling. Everyone can say this, but in fact, there have been many people who stabbed their brothers for a piece of equipment. The subconscious first reaction can prove something. It is said that there is no real crisis in the game, but it seems that there can be other realities, such as human hearts. It will be very tiring for you to fight in the arena like this. Xia Guixuan was too lazy to continue the topic and changed the subject. "Why is my gun different from yours? You all shoot white beams, but mine is blue bullets, so it brings out blue light when it's shot out, right?" Xia Guixuan smiled and said, "Yours is an armor-piercing bullet, used to attack various land vehicles. It's not suitable for competing with others because it has a slow rate of fire, ridiculously strong recoil, and it's very difficult to adjust the crosshairs. The elite of the Special Warfare Division have to undergo long-term training to master it, and no one uses it to fight others. I don't know how you can shoot like a gun god, with every shot hitting the target. Have you used this kind of gun before, huh? Have you recovered from that inexplicable stupid state just now?" Xia Guixuan pouted. "It's nothing, I just want to understand your thoughts, not questioning." "Well," Xia Guixuan explained, "no matter what kind of recoil, When its strength is just born, I know it, and it is easy to eliminate it. As for speed and accuracy, this is really a one-size-fits-all thing, and it is almost the same no matter what you play. Xiao Jiayu was silent for a moment, and sighed. This kind of combat adaptability, a natural fighter, everyone has his own strengths. I think you are much better than ordinary fighters. Why, with a machine-like brain like yours, you want to be all-powerful in combat? Are you going to heaven? Xiao Jiayu finally laughed and said, but in this kind of two-person competition, the so-called brain is actually not very useful, and combat power is the first. I feel like I am holding you back. I say I am leading you, but in fact I am being led by you. After saying this, he paused, turned his head slightly, and remembered the trash talk of the other team. No matter what their own situation is, in the eyes of others, they are both big men and girls in a double row, either boyfriend and girlfriend, or they are just thinking about it. If they continue to line up, it's okay to lose and win, but if they keep winning, I'm afraid this couple will become famous. Why is there a sense of deja vu again? Xia Guixuan didn't understand what she was thinking this time, and just said, anyway, I think you are the one leading me. How would I know how to play without you? You provide the knowledge and I provide the effort. As the voice sounded, the competition space finally began to distort and teleported back to the original desert. After leaving the small venue, Xiao Jiu seemed to be more relaxed and smiled, a pleasant cooperative experience. Time is almost up, I have something to do, I have to log off. By the way, game friends can be synchronized to the watch. Next time, just communicate directly, don't go to my book review area to be a riddler. Xia Guixuan nodded, then I will log off too. Xiao Jiu started to log off, and before disappearing, he seemed to ask casually, what did you feel just now? Sure enough, it was still on my mind. The white light of logging off surrounded Xia Guixuan, and his calm response came from the white light, eat people. Xiao Jiu's eyes widened. The two of them logged off at the same time. Xia Guixuan left the game cabin, and the house was empty. The little fox went to work in the morning and was not at home. There was a feeling of being spied on in the void, and Xia Guixuan flicked his finger casually, and a drone appeared. Yan Wuyu's voice came out of the machine, you are really playing games so early in the morning. Your officer certificate is ready, keep it. Xia Guixuan put away the certificate and asked casually, why do I feel that you, a general, are so idle? Do you have nothing to do? Which general doesn't have something to do every day? How much can there be in peacetime? The marshal was so busy in wartime that he didn't even have time to sleep. Now he only has some desk work, not to mention that I am only responsible for special operations. But then again, the descendants of gods must have unusual movements, but I don't know when. Although the recent atmosphere is not as tense as it was some time ago, it is actually loose on the outside and tense on the inside. Combining the intelligence analysis from various places, I feel that a war may break out at any time. Oh? What intelligence? I am your insider now, right? Do you know, the descendants of gods are indeed setting up a summoning formation. It is said that a core thing is missing. The descendants of gods cannot be found anywhere in the range, and they will probably aim at Daksha at any time. Okay, if you really fight against the descendants of gods, you must call me. Yan Wuyu smiled. I will call you even if you don't say it, Xia Guixuan said. I may not help you fight the descendants of gods. Yan Wuyu was very calm. I know. The two were silent for a moment, and the drone was bounced back to Yan Wuyu by the void. Yan Wuyu silently thought about the meaning of Xia Guixuan's last sentence for a while, but just sighed slightly, and did not continue to delve into it. She turned around and went out to attend the regular meeting at 9:30. As soon as she arrived at the door of the conference room, she saw Deputy Marshal Gongsun coming leisurely with a water cup. Yan Wuyu saluted. Gongsun Jiu smiled and patted her shoulder. Commander Yan is getting more and more oppressive? Not bad. Yan Wuyu, where are you referring? She looked down at her chest, which was indeed quite oppressive. Proud? No, this is the door of the military conference room, and a group of stars are watching next to it. Are you teasing me in public? Chapter 66. The so-called new plot. Yan Wuyu said, loose on the outside and tight on the inside. The military's meetings have obviously increased recently, various strength and trainings, and the fact that Deputy Marshal Gongsun asked her to recruit the third-level soldier Xia Guixuan to join the Special Operations Department are actually manifestations to some extent. But from the perspective of ordinary people, it is not obvious. Instead, they feel that their daily life is very colorful. Reading books and watching TV dramas is no different from usual. Xia Guixuan is also very colorful. For example, after finishing the call with Yan Wuyu, he had nothing to do. He went back to the ecological park and practiced for a few hours. At noon, the little fox was still in the company and did not come back. I thought that today would be the end, but in the afternoon, I received a call from Ling Moxu. Master, I am out of retreat. In the video call, Ling Moxu was still kneeling and bowing her head, but Xia Guixuan could feel the cold sword intent on her body through the screen. Her eyes were like cold light, and she already looked like a sword cultivator. If outsiders were to judge, Ling Moxu would be more beautiful. Her already arrogant and indifferent temperament would be even more cold and sharp. Even when she lowered her eyebrows and eyes in front of Xia Guixuan, her slender waist was still straight, like a sword. Master, your words are the law. I have learned a lot of immortal arts since I was young, but they are disorganized and I don't know where to go. It seems that my practice is okay, but in fact it is empty and confused. Master, you can enlighten me with one word, and after trying it, Mozu really can return to one method, and make rapid progress. I have also gained the meaning of Zuinyun sword, and I have learned a set of flying sword methods. Elder Huang in the sect is no match for me with one sword. Ling Mozu bowed his head in admiration and said, I would like to report my progress to the master. It is true that not everyone can give guidance on the way. This requires a very high level of cultivation cognition, otherwise it may mislead the students. Especially for a sect like them, whose inheritance sources the legacy of the descendants of gods in previous years, and whose inheritance is extremely complicated, it is very different from the famous and upright sects with clear directions, and it has the taste of a hodgepodge collection. It is even more difficult to have a famous teacher who teaches students according to their aptitude, to see through the fog and find the most suitable path for a certain person, and it is good enough if there is no internal dispute or quarrel. From the traditional sense of immortal inheritance, Xia Guixuan can actually be regarded as Ling Moxu's great master, pointing out the direction of her life, which is 100 times more important than teaching the little fox to build a foundation. Just this alone, according to the traditional master-disciple concept, can reach the meaning of repaying each other with one's life. Of course, modern society does not have such an exaggerated feudal master-disciple concept, which does not prevent Ling Moxu from being grateful. It is said to be a master-slave relationship, but apart from asking her to obtain Yan Wuyu's forgiveness, Xia Guixuan did not oppress her at all and asked her to find a batch of materials, some of which were used for her to refine the sword pale. It can be said that he respects and fears her. That day, when he wanted to interfere with his relationship with Yin Xiaoru, his face was stern, which was really frightening. Now, the more he practices, the more he feels his power, as vast as the universe, and unfathomable. Kneeling seemed natural, and the master's shouting became smoother. Ling Moxu hadn't even tried to remove the slave mark spell in recent days. I don't know if he felt that it was impossible to shake his magic, or if he subconsciously felt that it was unnecessary. Xia Guixuan was observing her progress. Of course, it was not very detailed to see things through the video. After observing for a long time, he simply teleported in the void and went directly to Ling Moxu to watch. Ling Moxu was not surprised or embarrassed, and just let him watch quietly. She knew that the master had no intention of having a man or a woman. Xia Guixuan watched for a while, and finally said, "The effect is better than I thought. You are very talented, especially the fusion with your holy blood is particularly compatible, which greatly improves your martial arts practice. This is strange, I thought it would take a long time. This compatibility has nothing to do with blood type and blood relationship." After practicing to Xia Guixuan's level, his blood has undergone countless innate changes. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is acting out the universe by himself. The energy and heavenly meaning contained here are really beyond the reach of ordinary people, and Ling Moxu absorbed them bit by bit. In order to make it easier for Ling Moxu to absorb, Xia Guixuan gave her some pills in the cave to help her absorb and integrate. As a result, this little slave girl unexpectedly fits better than he thought, and her absorption efficiency far exceeds his expectations, which is indeed a bit strange. Speaking of which, the holy blood, the sword pill, and the Zhuanyuan sword, this girl's Tao fate is really off the charts. As long as she can truly comprehend the Zhuanyuan sword in the future, she will be what the sword god has predetermined. Ling Moxu also said over there, "This fate is also due to the fusion pill that the master gave me before. I don't know how to repay the master's kindness. Please implement the punishment I owe you before, otherwise I will feel uneasy." Xia Guixuan laughed. What's there to be uneasy about? Ling Moxu was silent for a moment, and whispered, I'm afraid that I owe too much, and I will have to pay it back with my life in the future. Xia Guixuan smiled and said, have you ever thought about shirking your debt? Whether it's a favor or a punishment, Ling Moxu sighed. If it were someone else, I might have shirked it. But the master is too strong. Xia Guixuan laughed and found Ling Moxu's words very interesting. After laughing for a long time, he said, then how do you want me to punish you? Ling Moxu's face finally flushed a little, and she lowered her head and said nothing. It's always like this between men and women. Although they know that there is no sexual relationship, when it comes to punishing a little slave girl, it's easy to go off topic. For example, if a male master whips a male servant a few times, no one will think much, but if a male master whips a female slave, it feels a bit like that. Ling Moxu even thinks that it would be fine if he really wanted a female slave to serve him. Regardless of whether the gratitude is worth the price, it can always be explained as a punishment, and it won't be as embarrassing as it is now. Moreover, if he is just a lustful person, then her attitude towards him would not be so complicated. In fact, Xia Guixuan didn't know what kind of punishment to do, because it was not a big deal. He was just reminding this woman not to be arrogant when he was frowning. A scolding was enough. If he really wanted to make a big deal about such a trivial matter, whipping? Cruel law? Humiliation? That would be too low. Seeing Ling Moxu's embarrassed look, Xia Guixuan finally smiled and said, forget it, as long as I forgive you, you don't owe me anything. If you really want to say what you owe me for not continuing the filming, Ling Moxu said carefully, my master was a little bit exhausted before, so, I was a little exhausted before, but I met someone these 2 days, and it suddenly became very interesting again. I planned to finish filming. Speaking of this, Ling Moxu was full-time, and immediately said, then I will arrange it right away, and we can start the new clip now. It happened that the director told me before that our video is too slow and can't keep up with the progress of the original work. It is recommended not to shoot in sequence, and start directly from the latest content. Xia Guixuan said, the latest content, Axa plays the piano, Si Taekang listens. It just seems boring to shoot, just standing there pretending to be wooden. Well, it's okay, just shoot it, this scene has special meaning. Ling Moxu sighed, stood up and said, then I'll arrange it. Before he finished speaking, both of their watches rang with push notifications, and they looked down. Daksha Love Affairs has updated the chapter, who'll listen to the broken string? Xia Guixuan was a little surprised, this guy updated so well today? Oh, no wonder, this chapter is so short, only a few pages. Ling Moxu smiled, it just so happens that the master said that the previous one was not interesting to shoot, so let's shoot this latest one, which is also in line with the original work in real time, and the effect is better. Okay, Xia Guixuan responded casually and clicked on the new chapter to take a look. Then his face gradually became strange. Ling Moxu was also reading next to him, her face was so red that it was about to drip water. The new chapter was written that Azu couldn't hold back her secret love in her heart, and finally confessed to Taekang, who was listening to the piano, and took the initiative to seduce her with her body. The content was extremely charming. And how could a tyrant like Si Taekang have the integrity to refuse? Of course, he pushed her down by the way. However, he pulled up his pants afterwards and only promised Azu to be a concubine. Azu broke the strings of the piano and vowed never to play again. This is the first bed scene between the male and female protagonists. It is written very carefully. Xia Guixuan was certain that when writing this chapter, the dead glasses girl was definitely not herself. She was definitely playing a prank, and that was what she called the new plot will definitely satisfy you. What the hell am I satisfied with? Xia Guixuan glanced at Ling Moxu's red face and said speechlessly, ignore her, just don't shoot it. Ling Moxu bit her lower lip and pinched the corner of her clothes with a little nervousness, but still whispered, it can be shot. As an actor, this is normal. Xia Guixuan didn't care, I don't mind if you really want to shoot it. I told you before that I will not be responsible for kissing and touching scenes in the future. Instead, it can make the dead glasses girl who thinks this prank was successful stunned. But you didn't even shoot love scenes before, but now you are shooting bed scenes. Isn't it disadvantageous to you? Ling Moxu said calmly, then it's the punishment that makes me feel at ease. Chapter 67 I'm teasing you. Xia Guixuan stared at Ling Moxu. Ling Moxu looked back bravely. After staring at each other for a long time, Xia Guixuan suddenly said, You want to decide the punishment for me again? Ling Moxu knelt down in fear. No, no. Xia Guixuan grabbed her and said, why are you so scared? It makes me look like a good kid. I blamed someone for throwing himself at me. Do you think I'm like the guy in those funny videos who gets kicked away by a girl when reading a novel? Ling Moxu couldn't help laughing, but didn't understand what he meant for a moment. Xia Guixuan turned around and paced a few steps to the window. The sun was about to set, and there was a sunset glow in the distance, which made the world look a little vicissitudes for no reason. Moxu, Ling Moxu came to his side and tilted her head to look at his profile. At this moment, she was a little confused about the difference between reality and illusion. In a trance, it seemed as if Si Taikang in the play was calling her Axu. Has someone like me come here to act? Have you ever complained about it before, thinking it was incomprehensible and out of place? Ling Moxu suppressed her smile and complicated emotions, and murmured him in a low voice. This book reminds me of some past events. My acting is a kind of commemoration. Some people will inevitably think that this kind of commemoration is dwelling on the past, which is not a good thing. However, I think that I can do whatever I want and follow my heart. There is nothing good or bad about it. Maybe I am making excuses for myself, or maybe I really do whatever I want. Which one do you think it is? Ling Moxu thought for a while in a daze, shook his head and said, I haven't reached such an understanding yet. In fact, you should have. Your holy blood and Zuinigan sword intent can be regarded as a great opportunity, but the leap is too fast and lacks precipitation. It's hard to say what level you are now. It depends on how you are doing in the stage of asking for the way. The understanding of this kind of thing is also a part of the Tao. It's time for you to have your own understanding, Xia Guixuan said. The hardest thing for people to see clearly is themselves. The same is true for me. You say, I don't blame you. Ling Moxu hesitated and said, maybe both. The master may indeed have some intention of indulging in the past, but he also does what he wants and doesn't care what others think. Xia Guixuan laughed. You are really good at smoothing things over, Ling Moxu said. No, I do think so. The two are not necessarily contradictory. Those who really follow their hearts will not dwell on this. If I want to indulge in the past, then indulge in the past. What is there to distinguish? Ha ha ha, Xia Guixuan laughed, but did not say whether she was right or not, just said, it is also a kind of reason. Ling Moxu still looked at his profile and thought his smile was very handsome. This invincible man in the world had some thoughts and past in his heart, and suddenly became more charming, as if a statue of a god that can only be admired from afar came alive and entered the mortal world. I would not have so many thoughts. I was much colder and less human than you see now. If you met the old me, you would probably have been killed by me. Ling Moxu, well, it's not pretty at all. In the process of seeking the great way, I met a great man. His way was contrary to mine. But he went further than me. Originally, this matter should not have troubled me for too long, but later I was injured and have not recovered yet. At this time, my mind has a flaw, and my strength is no longer at its peak. The trace of trouble I once had finally began to expand. Ling Moxu was shocked. He was already so strong, but he was still in a state of injury and his strength was not at its peak. And, there are really people stronger than him in the world. I said it was free to do what I wanted, but in fact, under this excuse of free to do, I was gradually releasing some things that had been suppressed for a long time. I didn't think of this a few days ago. Now that I think of it, I can't be sure whether I should stop or not. Is it a mistake? Ling Moxu felt a headache after hearing this. The most difficult thing is to ask questions. The same performance may come from different mental states. A slight difference may lead to 1,000 miles of error. How dare she talk nonsense here? So she had to shut up. Xia Guixuan got back to the point. That day I told you that I would not be responsible for kissing and touching. Do you think this is normal? Actors are acting. I am ruthless and you are heartless. We are just interpreting other people's lives. What is there to be responsible for? If you have to be responsible for this, won't the actors in the world be in chaos? Ling Moxu finally smiled. It's very normal. I don't even know why the master wants to explain, but it's a job for an actor to interpret other people's lives and perform for others. But I'm not, Moxu. I'm looking for my own commemoration. Who is qualified to let me perform for him? If I kiss and touch, it means I want to kiss and touch myself. Xia Guixuan finally turned to look at her. So when I said this that day, it was not normal at all. I was in Si Taikang's state and did not get out of the role. I was teasing you. Ling Moxu was stunned. Just now I thought you definitely wouldn't do a sex scene, and you said that nonchalantly. But you actually said you were willing to do it, just to punish yourself? I never expected that, Xia Guixuan said, feeling a little amused and helpless. Okay, let's just shoot the part where we listen to the piano, and we don't need to pay attention to the scene at all. You see, the sun is setting, it's very suitable for the scene. Ling Moxu looked at him in a daze, and said as if possessed by a ghost, think about it yourself, that's called punishment, Xia Guixuan. No, I just said it casually. Ling Moxu turned her head away from him and muttered, it's just a scene, but you talked a lot about it, and you're almost ready to give a lecture. Master, are you sure that you are doing whatever you want? Isn't it shameful, Xia Guixuan? I think you're really arrogant. Ling Moxu still stiffened her neck and didn't look at him. I'm just a little slave girl, and it's the master's word whether to punish me or not. Anyway, I still think that since you are commemorating the past, but deliberately avoiding things you would do in the past, you are very obsessed. I thought the master was in the state of no appearance, but now it seems that he may not be. Xia Guixuan looked at her for a long while, and said slowly, you said such reasonable words, but you are actually pitting yourself. I am quite convinced. Ling Moxu was stunned for a moment. Yes. She realized that if she kissed and touched each other in acting, she could convince herself that it was work, and she could convince herself that she was forced by the master to kiss and touch her deliberately, but if she took the initiative to ask for it, and it was under the premise that the other party was clearly irresponsible. What should this be called? Throwing herself into his arms? For nothing? What on earth is wrong with this, and under what kind of emotion did she dig this pit? Wait a minute. The bed scene can be counted as long as the quilt is covered, but what about the kiss? This is not only the first kiss on the screen, but also the first kiss in my life, okay? Use a borrowed position? Is he willing? The two stared at each other for a while, and Ling Moxu was about to say something. Xia Guixuan said lightly, then shoot it. Ling Moxu, she suddenly felt like banging her head against the wall. But this is the master's official order, even if he eats you, a little slave girl, what room do you have to resist? What's more, it was her own request. I've never heard of such a request before. Xia Guixuan said lightly, go. As a female slave, it seems that you should have done something a long time ago. Ling Moxu walked out of her office like a sleepwalker, looking at the lights in the office building. She was stunned for a long time before she shouted outside, work overtime tonight and your bonus will be tripled. There is no need to call the original crew, all replaced by female employees. The assistant was stunned. Boss Ling, what are you going to shoot? Ling Moxu expressionless, I'm throwing myself into a man's arms. Everyone, study how to shoot it more beautifully. By the way, no exposure is allowed. The whole company was stunned. Chapter 68 People in the play. Ling Moxu had never filmed even ordinary love scenes before. First, because her main job was a singer, and she had just started to get involved in film and television. Originally, with her status as a queen in the music industry, she could have made her debut directly in a big production. But Ling Moxu was arrogant and didn't want to be criticized for her poor acting skills in a big production, so she planned to practice first before setting up her own company and starting with filming novel videos. Anyway, it was just the beginning, so naturally there would be no love scenes. Second, it was because she was too noble. Originally, she could have found a male actor to play Si Taekang in this video, but she didn't find one, and only filmed some civil and martial arts scenes. Anyway, it was just training. As a result, this time the fast forward was ridiculous. Not only did the male lead actor find a role, but the love scene started to be filmed. The first scene was just rolling around in the arms, which was fine. This time, she actually started throwing herself into the arms of a man in just a few days, and there was also a bed scene. Does your grandfather know? Oh, yes, Ling Moxu has been independent for a long time, and she doesn't need to go through her grandfather. But do you want your reputation? The noble Jade Queen, did you become a lustful woman just after turning to film and television? The staff members were powerless to complain and tried to persuade him, but they could not persuade him in front of Mr. Ling's stern face and determination, so they had to design the shooting plan. We couldn't stop them from shooting, but we could still do it without showing any skin. Then we couldn't let the male actor take advantage of it by taking advantage of the dislocation of light and shadow. In the end, everyone found that no matter how the plan was designed, the actors had to operate it. If the actors didn't follow your instructions, then the magic plan was empty. especially when the actors are their own bosses. The scene was set up. Among the peach blossoms, there was a corner of the wooden house, a peach tree behind the house, and the girl Axu was playing the piano. Si Taekang stood in the corner of the house and listened quietly. This was the previous scene, which was shot together. The director found that Xia Guixuan was really an actor. He looked at Axu's back and listened to the music. His expression was a little surprised at first, and then thoughtful, as if he understood what Axu said in the piano, and showed a hint of enlightenment. That kind of it turns out that she likes me kind of evil smile is really like coming alive. The camera in front of Azu was very awkward. According to the requirements, the actor should have heard the footsteps of someone approaching, and was slightly startled, paused slightly, looked a little flustered, took a deep breath and turned into determination, and continued to play. The pretty face gradually turned red in the peach blossoms, and there was shyness and a little panic in her eyes, showing the girl's emotions. However, this kind of requirement of the queen of the movie was too difficult for Ling Moxu. She frowned, pretended to tilt her eyes slightly to indicate that she noticed someone coming, and then continued to play her piano, and nothing happened. Ling Moxu glared at him. She still thought she played well and had a high level of musical literacy. Why interrupt me? Well, Mr. Ling. Xia Guixuan has passed this, can you think about it a little more? It's okay, it's just a storyboard, and it doesn't need to be reshot. He almost said that you might as well cut out the picture. Ling Moxu was very embarrassed, and secretly glanced at Xia Guixuan, who laughed dumbly. Ling Moxu pouted slightly. She couldn't act better than him. Of course, he was commemorating his past. Maybe he was Si Taekang, playing himself. Of course, this guess was too absurd. Ling Moxu didn't confirm it. Anyway, he was probably a similar person in the past, a spoiled second-generation ancestor who became a king. He played hunting, drank a lot, and didn't care about others, but he was actually smart. So he was very precise, very much like the evil prince in the female-oriented literature. There was no comparison with his acting skills. He said that if it was the previous him, he would kill himself. But what if it was earlier? What would he do as a tyrant? He would take him when he collected slaves, no doubt. Thinking of this, there was a little panic and shyness in her eyes. The director was delighted. Yes, that's the feeling. Let's start. Panic, shy, but the determination that had to be persisted. This time Ling Moxu perfectly met the requirements, and more than that, because the later it was, the more nervous she became. After this part was finished, she would throw herself into his arms. Tap, Xia Guixuan slowly walked to her side. The sound of the piano suddenly stopped. Ling Moxu pretended to have just discovered it, hurriedly stood up and bowed her head. Your Majesty. How long have you been here? Xia Guixuan smiled. A long time. Otherwise, how could I hear Azu's voice? I hope I will return to the right path. I hope I will be well. I am afraid of losing you. I am full of worries. Azu, for the first time, I know that you, who are armed with a gun and a horse, are just a little woman. Azu in the play was shocked. She didn't think Si Taekang could understand her piano, but he really understood it. Azu's heart was pounding. The girl who had been secretly in love with a king for a long time inadvertently revealed her emotions, which then surged and became difficult to suppress. She finally had some hope. If she served him well, would he not consider someone else's wife? Change? So she finally tilted her head and looked into his eyes bravely. Your Majesty. Change can do it, so can I. The director unexpectedly discovered that Ling Moxu acted quite well in this part. She had such courage. She was not a little girl. She was very consistent with the character of a female general who had been on the battlefield. She was straightforward and dared to fight. Once you decide, just do it. Xia Guixuan laughed and said, You? Who can you serve? I'm afraid you'll fight with me if we don't agree. Ling Moxu gritted her teeth, grabbed his collar, and pushed him all the way to the peach tree. Yes, that's how we fight. Xia Guixuan leaned against the peach tree, and the peach blossoms on the tree fell down, circling around the two of them, swirling and dancing. As they looked into each other's eyes, one seemed to be smiling, and the other's firmness slowly turned into tenderness. It was shot in one shot, including the staff and blowers that scattered flowers, and the new airflow swirling machine. The high technology really made Xia Guixuan immersed in the play. His eyes were really full of peach blossoms, and the jade-like face in front of him was full of firmness and tenderness, which gradually swirled around his fingers. The ancient whispers came to my ears again. Taekang, You really don't want. Sister is not as pretty as him, Ling Moxu is whispering in front of me. Your Majesty, you really don't want. Am I really not as pretty as change? Xia Guixuan's eyes were complicated, somewhat gentle, and so deep that the true meaning could not be seen. Ling Moxu gritted her teeth and finally tiptoed to kiss her. Staff, the plan we arranged was to borrow the camera angle, and the camera angle was adjusted. What are you doing, Mr. Ling? She gently kissed the corner of Xia Guixuan's lips without borrowing the camera angle. Then, as if she had been electrocuted, she stepped back half a step and lowered her head to breathe. The assistant hurried over, glanced at Xia Guixuan carefully, and comforted Ling Moxu. Mr. Ling, are you too nervous? There is no need to use a borrowed shot. It doesn't matter if there are mistakes. The long shot just now was too good. Let's make up for it. No need. Ling Moxu took a deep breath, nothing more. Then he pushed the assistant away, stepped forward again, hugged Xia Guixuan's neck tightly, and kissed him hard. The cameraman almost dropped the camera in his hand. You will forget change. She won't love you as much as I do. When Ling Moxu said this line, she was so embarrassed that her toes almost dug a hole in the ground. I always feel that the author's brain is Watts. You give it away, and after giving it away, the other person wants change or you. It's up to the other person to choose. You have already given it away, but what's the point? This heroine is too obviously stupid. However, it seems that she is also giving it away now. Ling Moxu automatically puts herself in the shoes of her competitors, and Yin Xiaoru's face pops up in her mind. She kissed harder and began to tear Xia Guixuan's clothes with her hands. The author of this rubbish and ignorant article is so stupid that it really screwed me. Just when I was just trying to avoid the embarrassment of my first kiss, I felt a strong force on my waist. Soon, the world was spinning around, and I was pressed against a peach tree by Xia Guixuan, who leaned over and kissed me like a little rabbit. Ling Moxu's eyes widened, and her mind was completely blank. There was no room for any thoughts. It was a real blank, like a thunderbolt, like being in the clouds. She didn't even think about where his hands were moving, and how messy his clothes were. Pervert, what are you doing? Let go of our President Ling. This is not how this scene is shot. A group of staff rushed up in frustration. Ling Moxu glanced at it with a dazed look, and felt that the disturbance seemed to be a scene from another dimension, empty and distant. It turns out that it's not a drop in intelligence. Sometimes, the mind is really empty. P.S. Tomorrow in Sanjiang, if you haven't made money on this investment yet, remember to make some money. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69 This is my planet. The staff rushed forward, Xia Guixuan stepped back slightly and lowered his eyes. Ling Moxu almost slipped down from leaning against a peach tree. Her sword-like body seemed to have lost its function completely and was limp. The assistant hurriedly supported her and glared at Xia Guixuan. Boss Ling, this man did it on purpose, Ling Moxu said weakly. I did it on purpose. Assistant, staff, a group of people were about to step forward to hold Xia Guixuan, but they just froze there, their hands hanging in the air, not knowing whether to move or not. Go on, there's still a sex scene, right? Ling Moxu didn't look at Xia Guixuan's expression, and lowered her head and said, finish it in one go? The assistant didn't know what to say. With your appearance, you almost fell down after being kissed, and there's still a sex scene. I'm afraid it's going to become a novi? To be honest, I can't tell. Boss Ling looks cold and indifferent on weekdays, but he's actually so sensitive? No need to continue, Xia Guixuan said. I have no interest in showing my sex scenes to outsiders, whether it is exposed or not. Ling Moxu looked up at him carefully, and Xia Guixuan looked very calm. Then, Ling Moxu hesitated for a moment, and said, then let's do it. Anyway, we are video clips, not real TV series. Even if we want to make it into TV series in the future, after one night, Ozzy got up with a quilt, which is enough. A group of crew members had no expression on their faces. You are the boss and you have the final say. That's it, Ling Moxu waved his hand tiredly. Let's go to work. The crew members looked at each other, not knowing whether to move. Ling Moxu's eyes became sharp, and there was a hint of sort intent lingering. Everyone has undergone genetic evolution, and their reactions are not slow. They immediately felt a chill in their hearts, and they all thought that President Ling's practice was getting more and more terrifying. Such a strong person certainly has his own ideas when doing things, so why does he need others to interfere? Maybe this is really President Ling's favorite man, and it's hard to say who is taking advantage of whom. With this in mind, people quickly dispersed. Anyone who acts as a light bulb here would be too inconsiderate. As a result, once people left, Ling Moxu's fierceness disappeared. She carefully looked at Xia Guixuan's expression and subconsciously wanted to retreat, but her back was against the peach tree and she couldn't retreat. She always felt that the master's mood was very weird at this time, as if there was an undercurrent surging. It felt like he might ask her to kneel down and serve him at any time, or he would press her against the tree without saying a word. She had the courage to refuse, but she didn't know whether she should refuse or not. After all, shouldn't she repay his kindness? In a state of confusion, she didn't know what else to do, but her first choice was to help him drive away the strangers. This little slave girl is really... Just when Ling Moxu was panicking and afraid that Xia Guixuan would pounce on her in the next second, Xia Guixuan's expression changed slightly. His originally indifferent and deep eyes moved, just like green buds gradually emerging from the dark swamp, and then spring flowers bloomed. Thanks, Azu, Ling Moxu. This kiss may be the stagnation that I have hidden in my heart for a long time. After the kiss, my purple palace moved, my mind became more open, and my injury actually improved. Although it was very mild, Ling Moxu, I'm just sorry. I mistook you for someone else. Ling Moxu was stunned by these words for a long time, and she really felt a little wronged. I mistook you for someone else. Perhaps this sentence can be ranked among the top 3 in the most hurtful words between men and women. Ling Moxu never thought that she would be stabbed like this, and she felt so sad that she wanted to turn away. But rationally, she knew that there was nothing wrong with this sentence. Publicly, this is a play, and the actor should be another person. That is Azu in the play, not Ling Moxu. Is there anything wrong with this sentence? It would be a problem if you really thought you were kissing Ling Moxu. Privately, this is the punishment that I took the initiative to propose. Then punish. Can it be called a punishment if it doesn't hurt? He is already fine, and he is still apologizing. Isn't it in vain for other masters to play with female slaves? Ling Moxu heard herself talking, and her voice seemed a little hoarse. Congratulations to the master for getting better. I can be considered to have helped the master in some way, so it can be considered a small repayment. Xia Guixuan looked into her eyes, as if he saw through all her thoughts. I can't be considered to have done you any favor, and those things are worthless to me. This time Ling Moxu was very serious, but it was a great fortune for me. Xia Guixuan smiled. If you think you have done me a favor, then this time it's all over, and you don't owe me anything from now on. If you count it this way, Ling Moxu feels that she has made a profit. He thinks that his things are worthless, but what is a kiss worth? How many virgins can be exchanged for a Zuinigant sword alone, but a kiss? Although these things don't seem to be comparable, it's not selling yourself, and it can't be measured by value. But Ling Moxu's heart is really relieved at this time. Debts can be repaid, but favors are hard to repay. The biggest bond is the cause and effect of favors. As long as he thinks he doesn't owe her, then she doesn't owe him. Does that mean it's really over? She doesn't owe him anymore? Is that right? Ling Moxu was a little unsure. But at least, she wouldn't feel guilty when she saw him, and he wouldn't act like a master. When Ling Moxu was thinking about these things, she didn't even think about whether to take the opportunity to discuss removing the slave mark. She didn't even think about it. Xia Guixuan hadn't thought of this, because the thing called slave pattern had never existed. Come on. Xia Guixuan turned and walked towards the wooden house with scenery. No matter what direction you ask, a messy mind is definitely not good, there is no doubt about it. Now that you have put your mind at ease, you can ask the question with peace of mind. If you have enough insight, you may be able to truly prove the Dao of Jin Yuan. Before that it was only fake, just like Yan Wu Yu. Ling Moxu followed him subconsciously. Master, that wooden house is a fake scenery, there's nothing in it, it's okay. Xia Guixuan pushed the door open casually. We are here, and there will be things. As the words came, a wooden table appeared in the empty house, with tea sets and fruits on them, as if an immortal had offered them. Ling Moxu secretly swallowed a saliva. He knew that the mountain in his ecological park had changed a lot. But he didn't know how it changed. It turned out to be like this. Xia Guixuan sat down casually and raised the pot to make tea. Come, please have some tea. The clear spring flows, The tea fragrance is quiet, it is good for meditation, it is Taoism and Zen. Ling Moxu sat cross-legged opposite, watching the steam rising, smelling the tea fragrance, and his heart was indeed at peace. The peach forest at night was no longer charming and chaotic, but instead was a fairyland, where you can hear the flowers falling and the wind chanting. Can my swordsmanship also do these? Do you mean the changes, or the meaning of meditation? Both. Changes are impossible. Sword cultivation is a kind of martial arts cultivation. In fact, they are two different paths from Taoist cultivation. They cannot achieve this kind of mysterious scriptures and wonderful methods. But when you have time in the future, you can try to practice both. Xia Guixuan asked, do you feel regretful? Ling Moxu shook her head. My way is set, so I have no regrets. All the flowers and scenery in the world are beautiful, and it is enough for me to take one. Xia Guixuan looked at her for a long time, and Ling Moxu's eyes were firm. He couldn't help but sigh. If it weren't for me, you would have been a truly determined and proud swordsman. Now it feels weird, a little inconsistent. Ling Moxu smiled. If it weren't for the master, I wouldn't even be a swordsman. Yeah. Xia Guixuan didn't continue to talk about to accomplished whom, and instead said, when it comes to meditation, swordsmen are no worse than Taoists. Although the directions are different, one has a heart as pure as ice, and the other has a flawless sword heart. Both are not hindered by external things, and each has their own wonderful methods. I'm not a swordsman, and my advice to you in this direction is not as good as your own understanding of Zuinun, so I won't say much. Ling Moxu hesitated for a moment, but still asked, Master gave me the Zuinun sword. Is it a wake-up call? Including the last time you asked me after filming, what do you think of the people's hearts that cannot be insulted? Looking back, Moxu always felt that the master was awakening and admonishing. How? Xia Guixuan lowered his head to sip his tea, and after a while he said, 2 reasons. One is to see how this seedling can grow, and the other is that if you continue on the same path, sooner or later one day, this great Xia will collapse and the planet will be in turmoil, and you will have to do it. Ling Moxu did not refute, but was a little curious. The turbulence of the planet should not be something the master cares about. Xia Guixuan smiled, revealing a mouthful of snow-white teeth. Why shouldn't you care? The master should be detached from worldly politics, and should not be affected by the rise and fall of countries in the world. Did I understand it wrongly? I understood it correctly. However, Xia Guixuan's teacup turned around his lips again and again, as if he was organizing his words. Finally, he thought of the most appropriate words and smiled again. This is my planet. Ling Moxu widened his eyes. Chapter 70 Frenzy. There are 2 ways to understand Xia Guixuan's words. One is that he wants to rule this planet and has already regarded it as a sure thing. The other is that he has a deep bond and cause and effect with this planet. At this moment, Ling Moxu thought of a lot. Especially the holy blood. According to her previous research and analysis, this blood may be left by the so-called father god of the descendants of the gods. If not, it must be the blood of the earliest batch of saints who comprehended the way of heaven in the ancient times of the descendants of the gods. The energy and the understanding of the way of heaven contained in it are so magnificent that people today cannot imagine it, so it is called holy blood. So this holy blood is related to him, right? Ling Moxu didn't think it was his. That would be too coincidental. Xia Guixuan didn't express any special meaning for the blood, but he probably knew the source, knew the original owner, and knew what the blood contained, so he could easily give the elixir needed to fuse the holy blood. Judging from his practice, he is likely to be a fairy god who witnessed the ancient legends of this planet and lived to this time. That is the second type, but the first type may also have both. People like him, who used to be kings, even if they don't seem to have much desire to rule now, Ling Moxu still feels that there must be a little hidden in their bones. It may not be seen at ordinary times, but it will be reflected in some subtle places. For example, she is very used to kneeling down to her female slaves and calling them master, as if it is natural. It is also very natural for her to give orders. It is obvious that she is a person who has been in a high position for a long time, not a traditional immortal who has been retreating from the world. Another example is the turmoil on this planet. Maybe the changes in the political power in the world, the rise and fall, have nothing to do with him. He has seen too much. But he does not want the planet to be in chaos, and he does not want to be taken advantage of by foreign enemies. This can be imagined. Ling Moxu suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. No wonder he said that if it were him before, he would kill himself. He felt that he was a demon woman in troubled times who might cause chaos. Of course, He might kill her at will. This may not be related to Yan Wuyu. It is purely his thinking. So far, the relationship seems to have improved, but the female slave is still unsolved. Most of them keep the rope to prevent them from running away. Are you afraid? Xia Guixuan asked suddenly. Ling Moxu's palms were a little sweaty, and she whispered, no. Xia Guixuan's smile seemed to have a little evil. Don't worry, how could Taekan kill Azu? Ling Moxu's heart was pounding, and she lowered her head to drink tea, not daring to look into his eyes. Once he switched to See Taekang mode, it felt much more frightening than Xia Guixuan mode, and there was always a look as if the innocence of the little slave girl was about to be lost. Ling Moxu sipped her tea and thought about it for several times, and finally put down the teacup to express her loyalty. If the master wants this planet, Moxu is willing to be the sword in his hand. After saying this, her heart suddenly moved. Maybe this is really a good way? Xia Guixuan did not comment. I don't need you to do anything. For now, I want to see what kind of tree this sword cultivator will grow into. The only thing to do is to notify me when your leader shows up. Ling Moxu bowed slightly. Yes. The master and servant talked at night. And the short video was still as efficient as before. It was released at night. Then within 10 minutes, a frenzy swept the internet. Ling Moxu is a beautiful and arrogant queen of singing. She really sings well. I don't know how many people think she is a goddess. Even among the descendants of gods, some young people with low cultivation will secretly collect Ling Moxu's records and concert videos, and hide to watch them at the risk of having their legs broken by their teachers. It is not an exaggeration to say that she is a global idol. Xia Guixuan's book Daxia Love Affairs was originally updated too slowly, so few people read it. Because of her videos, most people know that there is such a book. Of course, whether they read it or not is another matter. In fact, the first few videos did not have much response. Ling Moxu's acting skills are really not that good, and it's just a very plain drama of civil and martial arts, without any plot or eye-catching. People just look at her face, which is similar to watching her endorsement advertisements. Although she is popular, there is not much discussion. That is, Moxu is still pretty and so cool, I'm going to be soft and so on. It's not as interesting as the crooked-mouthed war god 500 years ago. The last time she rolled around with a male protagonist was the first time there was discussion. The discussion was basically like this: fuck, what kind of new guy has he never seen before, and he actually rolled around with my Moxu, making a fortune. Stop talking, where's this new guy? I've got my knife ready, come on, Moxu is mine, what's your business? Xia Guixuan didn't even know that he was scolded by so many people, but it was relatively okay. People were knowledgeable, and this kind of scene was not very stimulating. Some people think so. Fuck, this guy is handsome, +1 to the above. He may be the most handsome actor I have ever seen. I don't know where he got this newcomer. His acting is not bad either. Didn't you pay attention to the other video? The part where Si Taekang and Axo talked, the look and tone were amazing. What people don't know is that a Taekang fan club was quietly established on the internet a few days ago. The president of the fan club, Ziluo, is one of the girls who did the battleship mission with Xiao Jiayu last time. The fan club has a small number of members and is not very eye-catching. Ziluo wanted to find some beautiful pictures for brother Taekang, but she found that she couldn't find any. There was no information on the internet, just like a person who appeared out of thin air, which was very distressing. Tonight, the little girl was still looking for pictures, and found that the fan club was blasted by someone. Fuck, Xia Guixuan, get out here. That was a real kiss, not a stand-in kiss. How dare you? People can't do that, at least not. Moxu's first screen kiss. That wasn't her first screen kiss, it was her first kiss in life, I'm sure of that. Knife in hand, kill Xiaogu, who's in charge of the fans, come out. Ziluo was dumbfounded at first, then furious. It's Ling Moxu's blessing that my brother kissed you. Although she was not happy about it. If her brother wanted to kiss someone, he would kiss me, not Ling Moxu. But she always had to fight for her brother, huh? Hundreds of poor fans fought with countless people all night, and the battlefield expanded everywhere. Xia Guixuan forcefully kissed Ling Moxu, and Ling Moxu made a big sacrifice, and the kissing scene made headlines for various hot searches. And what do you think of the phenomenon that newcomer Xia Guixuan forcefully kissed the goddess Ling Moxu in his first role as Si Taekang made headlines for questions and answers, and countless people had a lot of fun fighting in it. In fact, everyone knows that it is impossible to be strong or not. The title is just to attract attention. What is Ling Moxu's status and background? Everyone knows it. Even if a newcomer dares to force a kiss, it is impossible for it to be released in the post-production. This can only be possible with Ling Moxu's consent. On the surface, they scolded Xia Guixuan, but in fact, people were venting their regrets that the goddess in their hearts was kissed by someone else. Since this is the case, of course it is not strong enough. Ziluo led hundreds of fans to scold back angrily, "Doesn't your goddess shit? You still expect her to keep her first kiss for a lifetime?" There are still such Oedipus in 2525, there are also rational people. Ling Moxu also wants to broaden her acting range. She should be encouraged and supported for her own good. There are also CP parties. I think they are a good match. The man is handsome and the woman is beautiful. This is intentional, right? The scene is also beautiful. Isn't it good to watch the performance without the fan filter? I don't know if it is a real CP party or a real CP party. If someone checks the IP, they will find that at least 80% of such remarks come from Moxu Entertainment Company. They are the best at setting the pace, leading the trend, and hyping up hot topics. This is what most passers-by say. Not everyone is interested in Ling Moxu, but after being attracted by the hot discussion and watching the video, they are very impressed by Xia Guixuan's looks and acting skills. Unconsciously, the rationalists and CP party members have begun to gain the upper hand. The fan circle is stinky, and a kiss is like the sky falling. I have carefully selected them, okay? Do you want to kiss you? Don't you see how handsome Xia Guixuan is? Do you think he is a good match? How many times do you match him? Just when the quarrel was at its peak, Ziluo received a killer weapon from her gaming sister Ningning. A video of Xia Guixuan's clothes fluttering in the thunder, flying and pointing a finger at the boss's forehead, spread all over the internet within a minute. Chapter 71 Xiaoju is updating. Fox is working overtime. The internet seemed to be quiet for a while. This is the era of interstellar war. Even if urban life is comfortable, everyone knows that it is essentially a war era. The martial arts style of the people is very strong. Although it is not as exaggerated as martial arts are respected, almost everyone has undergone genetic evolution and martial arts training. Almost everyone is in the military's reserve assessment and is considered a reserve army. With this kind of martial arts style, it is normal to fight at any time. When Zhou Pengcheng was captured, a group of young men and women rushed up, and each of them was quite good at fighting. The performance of the Yin family, who often let people beat people up, is actually not too strange in this environment. Why can Ling Moxu become a superstar singer? When she debuted at a young age, she was already at the high level of the third genetic transformation. It is said that she broke through the fourth transformation this year. Her pursuers were beaten to the ground one by one. In addition to the resources of her family, it is also inseparable from her own talent and hard work. People can be dissatisfied with their family background and despise performing arts, but no one dares to despise a peerless genius who has achieved the fourth genetic transformation in his 20s. You have to know that the little fox has dominated the world in his 20s with a second gene transformation. Most people are not as good as the little fox. It is human nature to worship the strong. There is a reason why Ling Moxu is so popular when she debuted, not to mention that she is so beautiful. The more important thing is that the real strong are in the battle sequence. No one goes to act or sing. Only Ling Moxu chooses her own career willfully because of her family background. No one can control her, so she is the only one in the entertainment industry. This time, Xia Guixuan came. This is not a game skill, but a simulated battle. The third-level warrior kills the fourth-level boss in seconds. The graceful dodge like strolling in the garden turns into a long rainbow-like blow, breaking the most vulnerable part of the boss. The speed exceeds thunder and lightning, and the boss does not even have time to dodge. The game video adjusts the front view. The face under the white battle suit is calm and deep, like a god. Those who are knowledgeable can also see what kind of power and spirit are contained in this attack. It is the ultimate use of the power of a third-level warrior. This attack must have been a unique skill that has been honed for thousands of times. He himself has spent countless days and nights practicing for this. It is definitely not a show. The charm of this attack can really make people intoxicated, regardless of whether they are men or women. Xiaoju was shocked by this, and Ziluo Ningning became a crazy fan because of this. The same is true for those who watch the video on the internet at this time. The arrogance of those who scolded Xia Guixuan on the internet was dispersed. This scene is really shocking. No matter how much you turn black and white, You can't say that this attack is just like this, right? Do you have the ability to try it yourself? To be honest, I'm not a fan, just a passerby. Why do people like Ling Moxu? It's because she is not only beautiful, but also very strong. With Xia Guixuan's performance, you say he is not worthy, so let's find someone more worthy. It took a long time before someone replied hesitantly, Deputy Marshal Gongsun. Although no one knows how strong Deputy Marshal Gongsun is, the ability of the commander is more important than this, right? Or some young academician scientists. You also know that you should compare military commanders with scientists, not yourself, right? Anyway, I don't accept it. No matter how stubborn he was, his temper weakened a lot. The quarrel was still going on, and it seemed that it would never stop. Xia Guixuan gained countless haters and fans overnight, and Ziluo's fans would increase by tens of thousands overnight. It can almost be said that Ling Moxu's attempt at film and television did not really stir up a splash until this moment. It's a pity that Xiaoju's book has become a background board, with a name appearing repeatedly, but no one cares about the content. Gossip hype and eyeball effect are always the irrefutable killer weapons in the entertainment industry. Once there's really a real level, real acting skills and high appearance, the effect will be like a snowball rolling bigger and bigger, gradually becoming a snow mountain. The company's employees were quite surprised. In fact, everyone was a little resistant at the beginning. After all, they thought it would be detrimental to President Ling's image. The rhythm was just to wash President Ling, but the effect was unexpected. The key was that Xia Guixuan's game video was really awesome. Sure enough, it was President Ling's own far-sighted arrangement. No wonder he said I did it on purpose. President Ling, I'm sorry, we are short-sighted. And at this time, of course, everyone who should have seen the video has seen it. Oh my god. It's almost time for the bed scene with Ling Moxu, although there is no bed scene, just a kissing scene. Yan Wuyu jumped in his office. I just said that casually. Do you really listen to me? There was a sound of knuckles knocking on the door outside. Yan Wuyu turned his head and saw Gongsun Jiayu leaning against the door with his arms folded, and said leisurely, Commander Yan, what are you talking about? Just a novel video. What video? Yin Xiaoru is working overtime, Gongsun Jiayu said lightly. Xia Guixuan is a soldier now, and he still needs to control his image. From what you said, it was you who instigated the kissing scene. Damn, it turns out that the deputy commander knew about this video. Yan Wuyu was sweating profusely. No, I just said that casually. You'd better warn him, at least there can't be any sex scenes. It shouldn't be that necessary. Ling Moxu won't agree. Right, that's hard to say. It's best not to label a woman like Ling Moxu. Maybe she's using this method to recruit talents. Yan Wuyu was a little surprised. Deputy Commander, you attach great importance to Xia Guixuan? This actually asked you to come to my office in person to warn him. Of course, a level 3 warrior can kill a level 4 boss in seconds. You can't do this. Gongsun Jiayu had a blank expression. Don't be careless. Although Ling Moxu is an elite of the human race and her family is also a high-level figure in Daxia, but she is not the same as us. Yan Wuyu solemnly. Yes. Watching the deputy commander leave, Yan Wuyu looked at his watch and hesitated for a long time. He felt that this task was not easy to do. Or simply put, this should be a task that can be completed automatically without action. Yan Wuyu really didn't believe that people like Xia Guixuan and Ling Moxu would film a sex scene for people to see. It didn't make sense at all. In the middle of the night, just to make a hint? Or find an excuse tomorrow. After hesitating for a long time, he finally didn't call. Instead, he clicked on the novel page and found that this extremely unstable update was actually updated just now. That kiss scene was updated in the evening, right? Is this an extra update? This Xiaoju has been working so hard recently. I wonder how she feels when she sees that she has worked so hard to update the kiss scene, but others take her updated kiss scene and chew it on the spot. Yan Wuyu expressed deep sympathy. Not only is Yin Xiaoru working overtime, but the video also called Xiaoju is also working overtime. Xiaoju is not Xiaoju. Yan Wuyu doesn't know her, but it doesn't matter. After imagining Yin Xiaoru's reaction, Yan Wuyu felt that she was going to explode. Yin Xiaoru was indeed working overtime. She had stayed in Beijing for 2 days before, and when she came back, she talked about the way with Xia Guixuan. She stayed at home all day, resulting in a backlog of company affairs. Thinking about the glasses girl in Xia Guixuan's game who had a tablet and was not threatening at all, Yin Xiaoru went to work overtime with peace of mind. When I came back in the evening, I didn't see Xia Guixuan. I guess he was on the mountain in the ecological park. Yin Xiaoru was tired after a day and didn't plan to go and provoke Fat Tiger. She stretched and leaned on the sofa to rest. She took a bottle of drink and inserted a straw. She casually clamped the drink to her chest and sucked it. She pressed the watch screen to surf the internet. It was the most leisurely. More organs meant convenience. The little fox was in a good mood every time at this moment. As a result, after surfing for only a few minutes, the little fox's eyes were straight, and the straw was bitten unconsciously in his mouth, and it was bitten into pieces. A video was circulating all over the internet. Under the rustling peach blossoms, a handsome man and a beautiful woman kissed passionately. The camera rotated, and the music played softly. From all angles, it was a real kiss, tight and solid. Xia Guixuan's profile was looming among the petals, and he looked intoxicated by the kiss. Yin Xiaoru's drink spilled all over her, and she flipped the table in anger. Xia Guixuan. You're showing off in front of me, calling me a friend, a passerby, having little feelings, and turning into a stone. Then you turn around and bite Ling Moxu. Are you turning into a stone or a steamed bun? Chapter 72, Carving a boat to look for the sword. At this time, Xia Guixuan had already returned to the bamboo house on the mountain of the ecological park, staring at the hanging painting in a trance. He didn't pay attention to the disturbances on the internet. After that kiss, his emotions were different from everyone else's boiling emotions. Human sorrows and joys are not mutually exclusive. Ling Moxu's thoughts were partly correct. He really didn't take kissing a slave girl seriously. It was old slavery. He probably couldn't even count the number of slave girls he had played with. When did he care about what they thought? They were all dead by now. Their lives were short to begin with. He even killed one with his own hands. The early civilization of mankind was not as beautiful as described by Aju. It was so cruel that most modern people couldn't empathize with it. Forget about treating them as another person. That's a big deal. If you say sorry and think you don't owe them a favor, that's because your mentality is not the same as before. It was indeed a past that should be despised. Xia Guixuan has always done this on his path of cultivation. He put aside the past and focused on the great way, so he was able to make courageous progress and his cultivation progressed by leaps and bounds. His sister wanted to kiss him, but he pushed her away. My sister is not as beautiful as them, no, that's just because they are tools, even Ling Moxu is. But you are not. The autumn orchid is green, with green leaves and purple stems. The whole hall is full of beauties, but I suddenly see you alone. They don't even deserve their names, and I have forgotten what they look like, but you can't. Once you get involved, you will fall into the sea of love. It's not good for me, and it's not good for you either. Once the god of marriage plays the role of a marriage, even his divine beauties will collapse. Don't you really know? If you don't say anything when you enter and don't say goodbye when you leave, you will eventually have to say goodbye. But what would have happened if I had kissed you at that time? Now that my heart is broken due to my injury, I recall the past and feel depressed, wondering if I regret it or if it was a mistake. But in fact, Xia Guixuan knows very well that this is a different time, and at least the choice at that time was right. If she was taken into the palace at that time, the entire divine system might have problems. Let's not talk about the avenue for now. The system must be turbulent first. Judging from her divine practice, it is absolutely impossible for her to make any progress, and she may even regress. With a foreign enemy still there, the chain reaction triggered will most likely be a tragedy, not the beauty of the emperor and the empress staying together. She can be emotional, but as the Eastern Emperor, she is responsible for the safety of the world and must be as calm as ice. Of course, selfishly, she really doesn't want to be tied down anymore. Since I haven't touched you and have always treated you as a sister, why must I be responsible? That doesn't make sense. In public and private, there is nothing wrong. It's just that some things may not be distinguished with absolute reason and calmness. People are not machines, and immortals are not stones, so they have been pondering until now. So why do some people say that it is the most difficult to accept the favor of a beauty? Today's kiss may have made up for some regrets, causing the mind to be more open, and the injuries have recovered. It's right to let go of some self-restraints. I have thrown away everything and roamed the heavens. So why should I be so cautious? Just as he was in a trance, a tiger roar came from the mountain, and the bang 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 feeling of impact flashed, and the tiger roar turned into crying. Fat Tiger was beaten and cried again. Xia Guixuan watched speechlessly as the little fox rushed up the mountain aggressively and entered the bamboo building. Oh, so you knew to come back. I thought you were addicted to steamed buns in Beijing and didn't want to leave. Yin Xiaoru was a little surprised to see him standing in the hall. She didn't think she would really meet Xia Guixuan. Xia Guixuan smiled. Steamed buns? She might not be like this. Yin Xiaoru was very surprised. Is Ling Roxu's mouth full of honey? You came back with honey, so your mouth is so sweet. Xia Guixuan didn't know what was sweet about her words. It was clearly a strong teasing, okay? But this idiot didn't feel it at all. Instead, he treated her as if his mouth was full of honey and he was praising her. Xia Guixuan really couldn't help laughing every time he saw her. I'm an actor. You've read the contract. It's as if filming a kissing scene is so rare. How did it provoke you to break into the mountains and beat up Fat Tiger in the middle of the night? Other actors are actors. Do you really think you are an actor? Yin Xiaoru almost jumped up. You are a cultivator. A great man in the late Tengyang stage? Maybe even more. You will lie to me. But, Xia Guixuan asked back, is there any conflict between a cultivator and an actor? Yin Xiaoru was dumbfounded. She stared for a long time before saying, no, isn't it said that cultivators should avoid this kind of worldly red dust? The entertainment industry is a place of fame and fortune. It's so inappropriate to roll around here. I'm just having fun, not really in the place of fame and fortune. You're famous. There's a fight on the internet. What does it have to do with any what others do? Yin Xiaoru was stuck and simply asked, is Ling Roxu just playing around? Xia Guixuan seemed to answer casually, what if it is? Yin Xiaoru half opened her mouth. The words were stuck in her throat and she didn't know what to say. There was something evil in Xia Guixuan's eyes. Are you still going to play change? According to Xiaoju's silly plot, if Si Takang really wanted to do that with her, he would probably have to force it. Yin Xiaoru actually took a half step back subconsciously. You see, when I'm serious, you always want to provoke me. When I'm really proactive, you're so scared that your legs shake. Xia Guixuan laughed dumbly. Yigong loves dragons, nothing more than this. I told you a long time ago that your closeness and trust in me are influenced by other factors, not your intention. Little fox, don't think too much, practice well, okay? After saying that, he didn't pay any more attention, but turned around to look at his paintings. You? Yin Xiaoru looked at his back hesitantly, and said hesitantly, since you are playing with Ling Roxu, why are you so good to me? It's as if you are afraid that I will get hurt. Xia Guixuan was stunned, and then laughed again. You actually know that this is good for you. Don't say that you are heartless and look down on you. Yin Xiaoru frowned and didn't answer. Because, Xia Guixuan put away his smile, looked at the portrait, and said in a low voice as if he was talking to himself. You are a sister who wants to take care of me as if I were a little demon who just came out of the mountain. Yin Xiaoru looked at the painting thoughtfully, and suddenly said, do you like this feeling, or do you avoid this feeling? Xia Guixuan said nothing. Yin Xiaoru smiled slightly. Come to dinner tomorrow morning, stinky brother. A fierce and aggressive come to find trouble, unexpectedly turned into descent from the mountain. On the way down the mountain, Yin Xiaoru didn't know why her emotions became so outrageous with his every move. It was like some kind of mind-controlling magic. But it really wasn't any magic. Yin Xiaoru felt vaguely that he might not recognize what he was thinking, and might not understand her. Yin Xiaoru. Even if he looked arrogant and seemed to know everything. Am I really so close to you because of other factors? Yin Xiaoru always felt that it was not necessarily the case. Passing by Fat Tiger was so scared that he wanted to run away, but she pulled him back and rubbed his head. Fat Tiger, you said that people use the original judgment at different times. Isn't it called carving a boat to find a sword? Fat Tiger was confused. Some people think they are smart, but they may not be really insightful. Maybe it's because of what he said before, being injured? They practice the immortal way, and injuries may indeed affect their mood and make them confused. The deeper the practice, the more serious this aspect may be. Yin Xiaoru rubbed Fat Tiger's round face hard. I feel that he looks powerful, but in fact he is a little pitiful. He is clearly a stubborn and arrogant person. Fat Tiger felt that he was more pitiful. Don't you know that my face hurts? We'll know if he comes to dinner tomorrow morning. Yin Xiaoru didn't say this, but thought to herself, how can a seemingly ruthless, but actually longing for tenderness, stinky brother, Hide it from me, a vixen. Yin Xiaoru pushed Fat Tiger's face away, stood up, proudly shook her long hair, and strode down the mountain. Chapter 73, What kind of profession are you in? Yin Xiaoru didn't sleep tonight. After she went back, she felt refreshed and had some insights. So she took a pill given by Xia Guixuan, sat cross-legged and quickly entered a state of concentration. When she woke up, it was already daybreak. She felt that her practice this night was better than the previous few days. She was at the 9th level of Kingxin before, and she was still at the 1st level after practicing for a few days. Now it seems to be the 2nd level? It seems to be more than halfway through the 2nd level? This shows that the state of mind is really important in cultivating immortals. But the magical thing is that Yin Xiaoru doesn't think she has realized anything. There is obviously nothing, so how can it be a state of mind? If you don't understand, don't think about it. Yin Xiaoru sniffed and felt that there were more important things worth thinking about. Where did the smell of food come from? She jumped up and ran to the kitchen downstairs, and sure enough, she saw Xia Guixuan cooking. Yin Xiaoru was dumbfounded. You can cook too. Xia Guixuan turned around and grinned. I couldn't before, but you can do it after trying it twice. Yin Xiaoru, so you are here to prove that my so-called care is actually worthless, right? It really seems like that. Xia Guixuan blinked and didn't answer like that. He just smiled and said, I've been eating yours all the time, so I'll give you a meal. How about trying it? Yin Xiaoru didn't mind his implied meaning. Instead, she cast a wink with some expectation. Then you don't need my help, right? I'll go wash up. After that, she went upstairs leisurely. Xia Guixuan shouted speechlessly, you don't need to wash up at all in your current practice. Impurities and filth are eliminated by themselves in practice, and external dust can't enter your body at all. What do you know? This is called faith. Haven't you seen women taking a bath in the game? I've really seen it. Xia Guixuan shook his head, too lazy to talk to women about such weird questions, and continued to cook his dishes. It turned out that Yin Xiaoru didn't go to wash up at all. She returned to the room and immediately threw herself on the bed with a hiss and rolled around. It was so funny. I don't know if this man realized it himself, or if he was intentionally releasing the change. Anyway, he was very different from the steel straight man when I first met him. At that time, he said don't be too nice to me, which was very hard and hurtful. Later, he also coldly set a deadline for leaving. If such a person wants to refuse the feeling of being taken care of by a sister, shouldn't he just leave? Instead, there was a wave of countercare that no one had thought of, and I'm cooking for you, who can't do it, to show that he was resisting, which was really funny. Although it may be that he deliberately tried to change, it's really cute. What's the difference between this and its son, dear little boy? Yin Xiaoru suddenly felt that although he had a mysterious origin and seemed to know everything, he might really have no such experience, putting aside his identity and practice, as a normal man and normal woman's experience. Well, although I don't seem to have it either, I am still a modern fox with a normal school life. How can I have seen a pig run even if I haven't eaten pork? In addition, it feels really good to have a man cooking for me. Yin Xiaoru laughed and laughed until she couldn't laugh anymore. She wondered uncertainly, how long has it been since I felt this way? No, has it never happened? Yes, it has never happened. The little fox sat up with a pillow in his arms, staring blankly at the balcony window. The morning sun was very warm, just like his smile. This dead man. He thought that he could solve the teachings and practices of karma, but in fact, Yin Xiaoru didn't take it seriously. He thought that cooking, which he thought was used to reject, unexpectedly touched people's hearts. Yin Xiaoru sighed faintly, got up and went downstairs again, leaning against the door to watch his busy figure. He didn't use any magic, he really cooked and fried vegetables manually. Although he seemed to know how to use various high-tech tools after watching her use them, he was still a little clumsy. He was not so perfect and omnipotent, but he looked more tender. Yin Xiaoru thought of a sentence she had said, if so, that's good. How great it would be if he was really a confused little demon who knew nothing. Why must he be a powerful one, destined to stir up the world with every move he made? Beep, the automatic oven finished the timer, and Xia Guixuan took the stir-fry out of the pot at this time, turned around and smiled. It's time to eat, little fox. Yin Xiaoru looked at him dimly for a long time, and suddenly said, thank you. Xia Guixuan was stunned. Don't you know the meaning of my cooking? What is there to think? No matter what your starting point is, Yin Xiaoru walked forward and pecked him lightly on the face casually. Murmuring, "Thank you anyway," this casual attitude made Xia Guixuan not even think of moving away. He was stunned by her kiss and didn't know why. He saw that she had already opened the oven and took out the roast chicken. She looked back and smiled and said, "Eat, eat." In fact, Xia Guixuan was originally very interested in the result of cooking for the first time in his life. He wanted to taste how it tasted. But he was upset by the strange behavior of this little fox. He ate a few chopsticks numbly without knowing what he was eating, so he put down his chopsticks and watched her eat. Yin Xiaoru ate very happily. Xia Guixuan was lucky to see someone who ate with a smile from beginning to end, which was also a very rare experience in his long life. "Why are you looking at me? Eat too." Yin Xiaoru smiled. "It's delicious," Xia Guixuan said with a straight face. "I know what I cooked is delicious, no need to try." "Where do you get this inexplicable absolute confidence from? It's obviously your first time doing this, because it's too easy." Yin Xiaoru was still smiling. "Yes, for a cultivator whose mind is full of Taoism, cooking a meal with the right temperature and ingredients is indeed simple." "Then what do you think is more difficult?" "Let's not talk about the exploration of the Tao. What else, or the items in the Tao that you find more difficult?" Xia Guixuan squinted at her for a while, and said slowly, "Emotions, no matter what kind of emotions. It has been an eternal exploration since the beginning of cultivation. Why does this become a problem? Many aspects, ties, concerns, weaknesses, flaws, desires, partiality, injustice, obsession, and weakness." Yin Xiaoru was stunned by what he said, and found that it seemed to make sense. It's true that when you have too many emotions, you will be full of flaws. When you have too many thoughts, what kind of career can you pursue? Just like her, no matter how good she is destined to be nothing big. Xia Guixuan pointed at himself and said, "Take me for example. If I travel around the planets and play whatever I want, wouldn't it be great? I'm worried about you, a stinky fox, and I'm afraid that you can't handle the wind and clouds, so I want to teach you how to fly. You've always been stuck in the capital, haven't you missed the fun of a planet? If you write it into a book, all the readers will run away." Yin Xiaoru pouted, and suddenly stretched out her hand to smooth her hair back, and straightened her chest. "What's so great about a ball? There are two here, aren't they enough for you to see?" Xia Guixuan had a blank expression. Yin Xiaoru once again revealed her natural charm, leaned into his arms, and said in a gentle voice, "Since you are bound here by me, then of course my sister has to compensate you something, right?" Xia Guixuan was annoyed and wanted to throw her away. "What are you doing again? To help you practice?" "I didn't think it through at that time, can't I think it through today?" Yin Xiaoru weighed a piece of potato chips and slowly put it in her mouth. "Didn't you say that being able to sit in a woman's arms without being tempted is practice?" Xia Guixuan didn't throw her away this time, but just said lightly, "I said you are different from Ling Moxu. Why do you have to put yourself in the same situation?" "It's because I am different from her that it makes sense." The potato chips were close to Xia Guixuan's lips. "You dare to eat with your sister? If you don't even dare to do this, what kind of practice are you doing?" Xia Guixuan wanted to say, "My sister can't be so coquettish." But Yin Xiaoru's question, which she didn't know whether she understood or not, was very interesting. If all beauties are skeletons, eating potato chips is just eating potato chips, so why don't you dare to eat them? If you can't even do this, what kind of profession are you in? But if there are 10,000 ways to eat potato chips, but you have to share them from your sister's lips, what kind of profession are you in? Chapter 74. Even the author is not spared. This is a question of Taoism, from which many different answers can be extended. This may be a very difficult question for the little fox, but she asked casually and did it as she pleased, without any entanglement at all. For Xia Guixuan, this should have been a foregone conclusion, but at this moment, he was frozen there. The potato chips were rubbing between his lips, and something was rippling in his heart. When their eyes met, Yin Xiaoru's eyes were misty, and Xia Guixuan watched quietly. Then he finally opened his mouth slightly and bit the potato chips. Yin Xiaoru's eyes seemed to change, but Xia Guixuan became quieter. The two looked at each other, slowly shared the potato chips, and their lips lightly touched, as if an electric current ran through them. Yin Xiaoru's eyes became more and more confused, and she whispered softly in his ear, "Your practice is good, Cindy," Xia Guixuan said calmly. "In fact, you still have oil on your mouth. You're disgusting." Yin Xiaoru hummed and left his thigh, calmly commanded the robot to clean up the table, turned around and went upstairs again. "I'm going to change clothes and go to work. I suggest you don't play any games today." There is a lot of noise about you on the internet. I feel that paparazzi or illegitimate fans will come to the door soon. You'd better let Ling Moxo handle the beginning and end, otherwise we won't be able to live." Xia Guixuan followed. "Moxo will handle it herself. She has experience and skills. I don't need to do anything." "Oh, it's Moxo, and you still say she's just a tool? The title doesn't mean anything, really." Yin Xiaoru stopped at the door, turned around and looked at him, as if smiling. "It's better to be a tool. Have fun, Xia Guixuan. It feels that the fox today is really special, like an antelope hanging its horns, without any trace." He ignored it with a stern face and walked into the game room. "Wait a minute," Yin Xiaoru suddenly called him, plopped into the dormitory, and quickly took out a set of pajamas. "Don't wear your ancient costume all day long when you are at home. Even if it is a robe, is it fun to change it all the time? Others will say that I am abusing my boyfriend." As she spoke, she unfolded the pajamas and tried them on Xia Guixuan, revealing a satisfied smile. "My vision is still accurate. It fits me perfectly." Xia Guixuan looked down and saw that it was the same pajamas with her Q version fox print. It had been changed into a Q version dragon before, but the one Yin Xiaoru bought this time was not. It was still a Q version fox. "It just looks like a male fox." "I know what you are thinking. We don't have dragon prints, but fox and tiger prints. I won't buy you a tiger print. Otherwise, I don't know if it's my couple pajamas or fat tigers." Xia Guixuan, "When did you buy the pajamas?" "I bought it on the way home from get off work yesterday." "Who knew I'd see you kissing a woman when I got home?" Yin Xiaoru pouted. Okay, hurry up. I have to go to work." "Hurry up for what? Take off your clothes and put them on." Xia Guixuan covered his head. "My robes are, whatever your level. Have you ever seen a high-level Jin warrior wearing a level 6 battle suit at home? Are you stupid?" Yin Xiaoru turned and walked into her own door, and slammed it shut. "I'm changing clothes too. Don't peek." Xia Guixuan looked at the pajamas in his hand speechlessly, then looked at the closed door opposite, and smiled unconsciously. "This stinky fox." He also turned and walked into the game room, really took off the robes and put them in the ring, and put on the male fox pajamas. With a flick of his finger, a water mirror appeared in the void. The person in the mirror was wearing a nightgown that fit him casually, and the printed male fox smiled very cutely. The door opposite rang, and Yin Xiaoru changed into a professional suit and walked out, knocking on the door and said, "Let me see." Xia Guixuan opened the door and walked out. Yin Xiaoru looked at him with satisfaction for a moment. Not bad. Then he kissed him casually on the face, turned around and went downstairs. "Let's go. I will come back for lunch at noon." "You do it, Xia Guixuan." He didn't know how many times he was speechless. He always felt like he was here for the first time, and his mind was dull. The more natural this fox was, the more he acted like a couple or siblings who had been together for a long time, the more dull he became. Xia Guixuan finally couldn't help but use his divine consciousness and looked outside the door. Yin Xiaoru was opening her air-cushioned fat car and getting in. As soon as the car door closed, the chick and natural Yin Xiaoru suddenly shrank in the seat with her fists in her hands, her face flushed. "Woo, first kiss," the little fox sniffed. "I didn't feel it properly, and he said I was slick, smelly straight man." Just wait. The hovercraft started up with a jump, and drove away with a puff. Xia Guixuan watched it with his mind, and suddenly laughed out loud. This fox was performing the way of nature. When he entered the game, Xia Guixuan still had a smile on his face, but the girl in front of him had a face as stiff as frost in June, and she didn't look very energetic, as if she didn't get enough rest last night. Xia Guixuan blinked his eyes. "There is no appointment at 9 o'clock today. Didn't you get enough rest and sleep more?" "I'm a soldier. I have to work on time." Xiao Jiu gritted his teeth and said, "Do you think everyone is as idle as you? By the way, why didn't the Special Warfare Division ask you to join the army? Is it because Commander Yang has a good relationship with you that you can get a back door? First, you are slacking off at work. The stipulated time for playing games and exercising is approved by the military. Many people have game cabins in their offices. Second, how do you know the relationship between Yan Wuyu and me? The whole world knows that you are Yin Xiaoru's boyfriend, the big star Xia." Xiao Jiu sneered. "The jade-like star broke the rules for you and competed with a female president of the beverage company for her husband. In the gossip, you are a scumbag in the world. Do you have some counts?" "Wait a minute, Xiaoru, that's a pharmaceutical company. Turning a pharmaceutical company into a beverage company and a prank company is unique in Xia. You don't need to introduce yourself. Xia Guixuan couldn't help laughing. What's wrong with you today? You look so grumpy, as if I owe you 8 million. Did you write the plot yourself as a bribe to me? Now I'm very satisfied. Please update more. It would have been fine if he didn't mention adding more chapters, but Xiaoji was even more furious after he said it. While you were hugging Ling Moxo and enjoying herself, I was staying up late to update. It's been several hours since I updated. And you didn't even see it, but you're urging me to update. Seeing Xiaoji's face flushed with anger, Xia Guixuan felt guilty and had to say, then, I'll go offline and make an alliance for you. Xiaoji was alert. I'm an author with integrity, and I won't give you any more benefits even if you bribe me. No, I just simply say that you wrote it well and you've worked hard. Huh? Xiaoji glanced at him. Is Axu delicious? This Axu refers to you or Ling Moxu. Xiaoji widened his eyes. Hey, are you teasing me? No. Actually, you didn't really give me that benefit, Xia Guixuan said with a smile. Your established plot is that Axu sacrifices herself, and the so-called benefit is nothing more than a little more detailed. You haven't thought about whether Ling Moxo and I will really shoot that kind of scene. Xiaoji hesitated. This guy really saw through what she wanted to write. It seemed that she couldn't fool him, so she had to say, in fact, this design was not thought too much. Real sacrifice or just a kiss will have similar effects on the plot. If it is a real sacrifice, Si Taikang will appear to be particularly scumbag. But think about it, Si Taikang is a scumbag, so I wrote it, Xia Guixuan said. I think you have some misunderstandings about Si Taikang. As he was talking, a group of girls came running over from a distance. Ziluo and Ningning were the first to run over. Brother Taikang, look at me. Xia Guixuan grabbed Xiaojiu and turned to run, and a group of girls chased after him. Brother Taikang, wait for me. Xiaojiu was pulled so hard that he staggered and was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. In the play, he didn't recognize me after he pulled up his pants. Outside the play, a group of women competed for my brother, and in the end, he didn't even let the author go. He is a scum both in and out of the play, completely true to himself. I think even if Taikang Bankang stood here, he might not be able to act as well as you. Sacrificing a book, my filial piety has deteriorated. Traveling through the true spirit continent, Xiao Ren became the direct disciple of the generation of female Lord Ling Xiaoyu. Bound to the strongest filial piety system, he can become stronger as long as he is filial to his master. Serving tea and water, beating legs and rubbing shoulders, he used gourmet fairy wine to corrode the master's body, used novels and comics to corrode her soul, and took advantage of the master day and night. Finally one day, this beautiful female master who wanted to take advantage of her apprentice found that she was being fleeced by her apprentice. She blushed and scolded him, evil disciple, your filial piety has deteriorated. Chapter 75 Horui shoots down 9 sons. Xiaojiu cursed angrily, and ran without hesitation. Compared with Xia Guixuan himself, she didn't want to go online to play in the arena, but her partner in the double row was surrounded by a group of star-chasing women and couldn't move. So Xia Guixuan looked at her curiously as she took out a capsule, threw it in the air, and turned it into a motorcycle. Xiaoji got on the car, and her glasses automatically changed into goggles. She was wearing a steel battle suit with goggles, a dazzling motorcycle, long legs supporting the ground, and short hair slightly raised. In the blink of an eye, the style of the painting changed from an artistic girl to an extremely cool cyberpunk. Xia Guixuan was stunned, and always felt that it was more interesting than the scene of the monster turning into human form. Xiaojiu turned around and said, "What are you doing?" "Get in the car," Xia Guixuan said. "Just sticking behind you like this," Xiaojiu said contemptuously. A scumbag pretending to be innocent. Xia Guixuan got on without saying a word, and put his arm around her waist. Xiaojiu's body froze for a moment, and when she turned around and saw that the girls were almost catching up, she started the motorcycle silently, and in a blink of an eye, she disappeared with yellow sand. The performance of this motorcycle can actually run in the desert. The vehicle roared, and the wind and sand were rolled up all over the sky. There was a dust in front of her, and she couldn't see the sun. Xiaojiu's goggles seemed to have the effect of maintaining vision in such occasions. She drove at lightning speed all the way, very skillfully. Only her taut waist proved that her heart at this moment was definitely not as cool as she looked on the surface. In the wind and sand, Her voice seemed to be squeezed out from her teeth. Have you hugged enough? With your strength, you won't fall even if you don't hug. Xia Guixuan laughed. It's just a convenience. Who would think so much? You are obsessed, right? Xiao Jiu gritted his teeth. It's easy to say. It's not you who is being taken advantage of, Xia Guixuan said sincerely. Don't belittle yourself. This is a piece of pork ribs after all. Boom. The motorcycle leaped up, spread its glider in the air, went straight down with the wind, and went out of the desert. Then it landed with a thud, and with a squeak, it braked in an extremely elegant turn. The two wings retracted, and the motorcycle stopped steadily. Xiao Jiu supported the ground with his long legs and said coldly, "Why don't you get off, Tisk?" Xia Guixuan got out of the car, looked around for a long time, his eyes sparkling. This is fun, sell me one. Xiao Jiu didn't even know if he was referring to the person or the car. The goggles turned back into delicate glasses, and he said with a straight face, I completed a very difficult series of tasks, and got a lot of parts to slowly assemble it. There are probably not many in the whole game, so I won't sell it. Is there one in reality? Xiao Jiu was finally sure that he was talking about a car, and he sighed and said, yes, but it's military equipment, and it can't be bought by civilians. It's not ruled out that some playboys got it and modified it. But you're a member of the Special Warfare Division now, maybe you can apply for one. Xia Guixuan nodded, not bad, try it later. Sure enough, men like these, right? Xia Guixuan smiled, it has a different taste from magic weapons. And each has its own fun. It is indeed a man's pleasure. Xiao Jiu sneered, isn't a man's pleasure a woman's? Xia Guixuan blinked, your attitude towards me today was very bad. It's obviously not that I didn't even let the author go, but the author eloped with a male protagonist, right? Xiao Jiu said, your performance today is obviously frivolous, which seems different from the stability in the past few days. Coupled with a real scandal, how do you let people see you? Xia Guixuan smiled casually, I was immersed in some thinking in the past few days. That was not normal, nor should it be normal. To be honest, I was tricked by your book. A scumbag is the norm, just follow your heart, why bother about appearances? Xia Guixuan suddenly said, you are obviously full of manliness, why do you have to be like a girl when communicating with me? Just be the way you should be in your daily life, why are there so many nonsense? Xiao Jiu was stunned by what he said and actually fell into thought. Xia Guixuan asked curiously, what are you talking about again? Xiao Jiu patted the motorcycle uncertainly, is it because you saw me racing that you said I was manly? Am I not an artistic girl with glasses in your eyes, racing? I guess it strengthens my feelings, Xia Guixuan said, when I first met you, you didn't say you were an artistic writer, but you slashed at me with a broken blade, with a straight and proud military posture. That was my first impression, okay? Then you said you were an author, which subverted my impression. Xiao Jiu was silent. Xia Guixuan said again, the cold light shining on the iron armor is originally a poem about why women should not be inferior to men. Isn't it the same idea to train combat capabilities in the game? I also interpret your book as having a heart for the country, but it's a pity that you are a woman, and your heart can only be entrusted to others. As for whether you recognize it or not, I don't care. Xiao Jiu's eyes gradually changed, as if there was a ripple hidden behind the lens, which was not clear. Xia Guixuan felt that this look was a little familiar, just like the expression of the little fox sometimes. Xiao Jiu turned his head slightly away, not looking at him again, and whispered, this area is a dangerous area. There are some level 4 or even level 5 wild monsters. We should not stay here for long. Let's go, get on the bike, Xia Guixuan said, how about letting me ride the bike? I won't take advantage of you if you sit in the back, right? Xiao Jiu asked curiously, can you ride it? It's such a simple thing. You can learn it just by looking at it. If you don't believe me, try it. Xia Guixuan got on the bike and started it up. Xiao Jiu. Xia Guixuan turned around and smiled. Get on. Xiao Jiu sat silently behind him, hesitated for a moment, and also put his arm around his waist. Not serious, huh? After all, it was the first time to operate the bike, and Xia Guixuan couldn't drive the bike fast, but just drove at a constant speed. Beyond the desert was the Gobi Desert, and the scenery on both sides was still vast. The motorcycle passed by all the way, which was a strange kind of romance. He really knew how to operate it just by looking at it. He was really a genius, in every sense. Xiao Jiu rested his forehead on his back, and his heart was beating a little fast. Actually, What he said just now, although it hits the heart, it is not entirely right, half true and half false. He seemed to have hit the nail on the head about her outside the game cabin, but at that time, she was just a one-sided appearance, highlighting and magnifying an unshakable flag. It is not false, just one-sided, a god painted with gold powder. She in the game is more real and more complicated. Because here, she is a woman. While having all the attributes outside the cabin, why can't she be more literary, more sensitive, and unscrupulously lean behind the man and say, I am very tired, I am also gossipy, I also like to look at faces, and I also have a little temper? It's a pity that even he can't understand it. Of course, I don't expect anyone in the world to understand, and I don't allow anyone to understand. It's good like this now. Squeak, Xia Guixuan suddenly braked. Xiao Jiu fell on his back, which hurt him a lot, but he didn't blame him. Instead, his expression changed drastically. You entered the sensing range of the 4th level boss. It's my fault. I was distracted and forgot to remind you to avoid the path. As he spoke, there was a loud boom in front of him. The earth trembled, and the Gobi Desert cracked and collapsed, creating a doomsday scene. In the distance, there were terrifying cracks on the ground, and a huge centipede-like monster drilled its head out from the ground. One of its eyes was bigger than Fat Tiger's entire body, and there were 9 eyes on this head. Zoo 166 Galaxy, Huanglin Star's dominant creature, the 9-eyed centipede, is a level 4 peak creature. It is used as a simulated outdoor boss in the game, Xiao Jiu explained hurriedly. Its weakness is hidden underground. We can't fight it like this. I will ride a bike to chase it and lead its body out. You have accurate shooting skills. You can hide behind the rocks outside and take advantage of the opportunity to hit its belly. Get out of the car. Xia Guixuan ignored her and drove a half circle at high speed. He stopped behind a huge rock and said lightly, no matter how awesome your manliness is, you are a woman here. Stay behind and don't make such annoying tactical arrangements. As he said that, he supported himself with both hands and jumped onto the huge rock. He kicked his feet and went up to the sky. Roar, the 9-eyed centipede was indeed attracted by him and jumped up from the ground to chase him. The 9 huge eyes lit up at the same time, like 9 suns. I really don't want to use his skills, but you're like this, it really makes me want to use them. In mid-air, Xia Guixuan took out a bow from somewhere and put 9 arrows on it at the same time. 9 cold rays of light pierced through the sky and earth and rushed away. Xiao Jiu looked up in a daze, feeling that he had seen the most beautiful meteor shower, and time and space were permanently frozen at this moment. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.